Bei Yao's past life was a string of misfortunes. She was constantly hurt by her husband and his lover, and even her family faced continuous danger trying to save her. During the time she was in a vegetative state, there was one person who secretly protected her, Pei Chuan. He also had an extremely unfortunate fate. At the age of 4, he was attacked by thugs seeking revenge on his father. They severed Pei Chuan's legs, leaving him disabled for life. Carrying the injustice of her death, this time, when Bei Yao opened her eyes, she was shocked to find herself reborn. Back at the age of 4, Bei Yao cared about the man she had never noticed in her past life, yet who was willing to risk his life and spend his entire life protecting her. In this life, Bei Yao decided to protect Pei Chuan just as he had protected her in her past life, and she silently vowed to remember all the enemies who had caused her pain. The children ran outside happily. Ice cream, ice cream. I want some too. I want some too. Teacher Zhao was changing Pei Chuan's clothes when she suddenly saw this scene. She quickly stood up and ran towards the children. That's hail. You can't eat it. Seeing Teacher Zhao leave, Pei Chuan could only try his best to pull up his pants. Teacher Zhao sternly instructed the children, don't eat hail, understand? If little children eat hail, they won't grow tall. But the children were still naive. Teacher, will I not grow tall now? On the other side, the caregiver gently patted the children's heads. Of course not. Remember to eat more food. It'll be fine after you go home this afternoon. The children quickly looked at Pei Chuan, making him a little embarrassed. A child quickly announced to everyone, look, Pei Chuan wet his pants. He peed all over the floor. This made the other children immediately gasp in surprise and turn back to look at him with some disgust. I stopped wetting my pants when I was 3. The children continued their lively discussion. Mommy says kids who wet their pants are dirty. He's still wearing those pants. Look where he peed. Pei Chuan was extremely flustered by this scene, but he was helpless. Tears streamed down his face. I didn't mean to. But the children still kept mocking poor Pei Chuan. He doesn't have legs, and he wet his pants. Let's not play with him anymore. If we play with him, we'll wet our pants too. The noise gradually woke Bei Yao up. She was a little surprised and confused, reaching out to touch her forehead. Wasn't I already dead? Where is this? Voices kept ringing in her ears. Pei Chuan is so dirty. I don't want to sit in front of Pei Chuan anymore. She quickly turned her head to look at the situation. At this time, the caregiver slowly wheeled Pei Chuan out. Everyone, go back to your seats. I'll go call your moms and dads to pick you up. Looking at his pitiful face, Bei Yao immediately recognized him. Pei Chuan. Her expression gradually became blank. This is Pei Chuan as a child. She remembered this man from her past life. 18 years later, he would be a brilliant and determined computer genius. Bei Yao also had a deep connection with Pei Chuan. It was Pei Chuan who saved me from the Hua family's hellhole and protected me for 2 years when I was most desperate and helpless. At that time, Pei Chuan said to me, Bei Yao, I will protect you for the rest of your life. Thinking of this, she looked at the pitiful Pei Chuan in reality, and Bei Yao's thoughts were racing. He's just a weak little child who just lost his legs. Outside, the children's families were also rushing to pick them up. What awful weather. It was sunny in the morning, and now it's hailing in the afternoon. The children being picked up by their families were all very happy. Goodbye, Teacher Zhao. She waved goodbye with a smile. Goodbye, Xiaowei. Goodbye, Lily. At this time, Yilan also walked forward, shouting with a smile, Yao Yao, Mommy's here to pick you up. Seeing her mother appear, Bei Yao was very excited, tears welling up in her eyes. Mommy. Seeing her so pitiful, her mother quickly picked her up. My baby, why are you crying? Were you scared by the hail? Bei Yao quickly shook her head. Before leaving, she didn't forget to look back. Pei Chuan was still sitting there alone. Pei Chuan's mother was a surgeon and would be busy until late at night when she had surgeries. His father was a police captain and was also very busy with work. Thinking of his pitiful fate, Bei Yao felt some heartache for him. She pondered silently, looking at the little boy's back. The temperature is going to drop tonight. This is the coldest time of the summer night. She thought pensively, recalling memories of her past life. In my past life, Pei Chuan didn't have anyone in this world. The next morning, Miss Xiao was surprised. Wasn't Yao Yao on sick leave? Why did Yilan bring her? Yilan sighed and explained, yes, she usually refuses to leave the house. But today, even though she's sick, she insisted on coming to school. She smiled and led Bei Yao inside, saying, Yao Yao, come into the classroom with me. Bei Yao didn't forget to wave goodbye. Bye, Mom. Remembering something, Ms. Zhao smiled and reminded Yao, if you feel unwell, tell me, okay? Don't be like yesterday. Bei Yao smiled knowingly and nodded. Okay, teacher, I understand. In a classroom, the sounds of children playing happily rang out. Drop the handkerchief, gently place it behind a friend. A gentle breeze blew past as Bei Yao gazed at Pei Chuan. Don't tell him, everyone. Seeing Bei Yao appear, the children waved and shouted, Yao, come play with us. She thought with surprise, in my past life, I didn't come to kindergarten today. But after today, Pei Chuan never spoke another word, and even refused to come to kindergarten. She was very curious about the boy in front of her. What exactly did Pei Chuan experience today? The children in the kindergarten were still playing happily. Drop the handkerchief, gently place it behind a friend. A mischievous boy looked at Pei Chuan and got an idea. Don't tell him, everyone. The handkerchief was immediately aimed directly at Pei Chuan. The room instantly fell silent, and all the children turned their gazes towards Pei Chuan. Pei Chuan felt a little embarrassed. He slowly bent down, wanted to pick up the handkerchief. The boy laughed gloatingly, teasing him. This made Bei Yao, who was standing to the side, become very worried. Don't pick it up. You don't have to pick it up. He stubbornly tried his best to pick up the handkerchief. Outside, birds sang incessantly in the 5-year-old summer. In a wide space of the classroom, Pei Chuan struggled to control his wheelchair. Pei Chuan was like a trapped animal. He looked small and pitiful, both frustrated and desperate, as he controlled his wheelchair to chase after them. But the little boy kept laughing and taunting, "You're going the wrong way. You're so stupid." Outside, the birds were singing sweetly. Bei Yao pondered, there are many childhood memories that I don't remember when I grow up. Looking at Pei Chuan in front of her, she felt sorry for him. To me, Pei Chuan was just a disabled boy without legs. If he hadn't become a devil and protected me, I might not have paid much attention to him in this life. Laughter continued to ring out. Come and catch me. You can't catch me. Pei Chuan remained silent and helpless. Bei Yao seemed to have made a decision. Pei Chuan is the devil of the world, but he is also my benefactor. Without thinking twice, she rushed over and hugged the bigger boy's legs. This prevented him from escaping. He shouted in confusion, "Let go, Bei Yao. What are you doing?" Bei Yao looked stubbornly at the boy. "You're not allowed to leave." After struggling for a while to no avail, the boy finally burst into tears helplessly. Seeing the boy crying, Bei Yao became a little flustered. She turned her head and looked at Pei Chuan, who was sitting quietly, and secretly gestured to him, "Quick, hurry up and catch him." Watching the scene just now, Pei Chuan appeared lost in thought. Suddenly, he dropped the handkerchief onto the ground. Ignoring the crying boy and his friends, he headed off in another direction. Pei Chuan's actions also left Bei Yao confused and embarrassed. Hearing the commotion, Ms. Zhao slowly walked in and picked up Bei Yao. "Why are you crying, Yao? Why are you lying on the ground? Get up." Pei Chuan controlled his wheelchair to a corner of the room. "It's almost time to leave school, and Mom and Dad still haven't come." Ms. Zhao continued to comfort the children. "Don't cry, be good. If you cry anymore, you'll turn into a little cat." He continued to watch the children gradually stop crying. Those two are the most popular in kindergarten. Chun-Hu, who's always joking and playing with his friends, and Fong Minjun, who is very pretty. The children started to play happily again. "Chun-Hu, don't cry. Let's play origami. Let's fold paper airplanes." Pei Chuan turned his head again, looking in one direction. That little girl with bright eyes is the youngest in kindergarten, and she lives in the same neighborhood as me. The image of Bei Yao came into his mind. She cries a lot, has a weak body, and gets sick easily. Everyone calls her Yao. Time passed, and it was time to go home. The man walked in smiling. "Chun-Hu, your dad is here." Chun-Hu turned his head happily and waved goodbye to the teacher. Ms. Zhao also smiled and said goodbye. Chun-Hu. Before leaving, Chun-Hu couldn't resist taunting, "No one will come and pick you up." This made Pei Chuan clench his fists in anger. Bei Yao, who was standing nearby, also witnessed the whole thing. "You little brat." She slowly picked up the paper airplane and handed it to Pei Chuan. "Here." She tried to get closer to him. "My name is Bei Yao. Our homes are very close. Let's go home together." Pei Chuan threw the paper airplane in another direction with a hostile attitude. "Go away. I don't need you." The paper airplane flew straight out of the yard, quite a distance away from them. Without a second thought, Bei Yao immediately ran straight towards the paper airplane. Holding the airplane in her hand, she was a little breathless from running. But even so, the smile on Bei Yao's face was still innocent and carefree. She let go of the paper airplane, and her actions made Pei Chuan feel very uncomfortable. Without thinking, he immediately stepped on the paper airplane in her hand. Looking at Bei Yao's stunned face, he seemed to have guessed something. She would definitely cry her heart out, like Chun-Hu, and then run to tell the teacher. Facing Pei Chuan's actions, she didn't show any reaction. I know that those who have been hurt are like hedgehogs, but their hearts are still soft. She didn't give up and said with a smile, "If you don't want to play, let's go home. My mom didn't come to pick me up either. We could go home by ourselves, okay?" Seeing that Pei Chuan still didn't respond, Bei Yao smiled and extended her hand to him. "Let's go." Contrary to her attitude, he coldly pushed her hand away. This action left her speechless. "Pei Chuan," Bei Yao thought helplessly, "Pei Chuan, you're really difficult to get along with." Just then a familiar voice rang out. "Teacher Zhao, I'm so sorry. I got off work a little late today." Hearing this, she was startled. Seeing Yilan appear, she smiled and shook her head, explaining, "It's okay, Yao Yao's mom," and quickly walked towards Bei Yao and picked her up. "Yao Yao, let mommy give you a hug." Seeing Pei Chuan still sitting there quietly, she felt a little heartache. She walked closer to him, holding Bei Yao, and asked with concern, "Pei Chuan, do you want Anna to take you home?" He still didn't react. In this awkward situation, Teacher Zhao hurriedly ran over and said, "Yao Yao's mom, you and your child should go back first." Helplessly, Yilan had to take Bei Yao home. What sins did that couple commit to raise a child with such a personality? When he saw the two leave, Pei Chuan's eyes became very strange. He watched Bei Yao and her mother still happily holding hands and walking home. He opened his palm, which was full of torn pieces of paper, and he felt a little sad. Sure enough, she lied to me. Her mom came to pick her up. Thinking of this, he felt very helpless. Time shifted to evening in the apartment building. Bei Yao tried hard to stand on tiptoe and look out. Across from her family's apartment, a woman's figure came into view. Seeing a figure appear in the room, she breathed a sigh of relief. Pei Chuan's house lights are on. He must have been taken home. She slowly climbed down from her perch. "Why do I feel like I'm getting a fever, and my head hurts more and more, and my memory is starting to get blurry?" Bei Yao quickly grabbed a small notebook at hand. "I can't forget if I don't want to repeat the same mistakes." She painstakingly wrote down everything she had witnessed in her past life. In 2010, Bei Yao married Huoxiao. After marriage, she discovered he already had someone he truly loved. In that relationship, she was a very pitiful person, and Bei Yao was just a shield he used to defy his family and protect his true love. Huoxiao was a descendant of a military and business family, rich and powerful. At the same time, she wrote everything down in detail. To help Bei Yao escape the Hua family's cage, Zhao Yulan and Bei Lizai ran around asking for help, but ultimately met with an accident, and Bei Lizai became a vegetable. After writing these lines, helpless tears kept sliding down Bei Yao's face. The past was being unveiled by her bit by bit once again. Finally, Xiao Ilan went to beg a man, that man named Pei Chuan, a man called a demon by the whole world, because the program he wrote was a threat to social stability. Even if Bei Yao died, she would never forget the good things Pei Chuan had done for her. He protected Bei Yao for 2 years, and on the day she died, Pei Chuan told her that she was the person he didn't dare to love in his life. These words were written down very carefully by Bei Yao. In 2014, Bei Yao died cowardly, still acting as a shield for that woman. Be good to Pei Chuan. Because she was too tired, she gradually fell asleep. In her past life, Pei Chuan also refused to go to kindergarten because of what happened today, and from then on, he stopped speaking. So what about this life? Looking at the inky black night sky outside the window, she wondered would he go tomorrow. Time flew by, and soon it was the next morning. After finishing the lesson, Teacher Xiao announced with a smile, "Okay, class dismissed." The students ran out happily like a flock of little birds. "Let's play hide and seek on the playground. I'm not going to be the seeker today." A voice rang out in the classroom. "Fong Minjun, do you want some candy?" Pei Chuan sat quietly, thinking, "I'm going to school." He continued to look at the empty seat beside him, but she didn't come. Many days have passed since that moment. The story that followed was slowly told by Bei Yao. My 4-year-old body strongly rejected the memories of my past life. After a serious illness, my memories stopped at the 3rd grade of elementary school. When Yilan brought Bei Yao to kindergarten, she smiled and instructed, "Yao Yao, be good, listen to the teacher, and let mommy go to work." She smiled obediently and nodded in agreement. "Okay, goodbye, mommy." She quickly walked into the classroom, but I knew I had been reborn, and I also knew Teacher Zhao quickly instructed, Yao Yao, go play with your friends first. I'll get you a small biscuit. Bei Yao walked into the classroom, searching for Pei Chuan. Looking at the scene before her, she was a little stunned and surprised. Bei Yao told herself, I must be good to Pei Chuan. Seeing him right in front of her, she noticed he was even thinner than a few days ago. She happily ran towards Pei Chuan, thinking, now that I'm seeing the world from a child's perspective, I don't feel as impatient and anxious as before. I have more longing and curiosity for the world, like welcoming a new life. Bei Yao secretly rejoiced. If I give the flower to Pei Chuan, he will definitely understand me now. Chunhu snatched the biscuit placed on Pei Chuan's desk. He even tore it into pieces in front of Pei Chuan. Seeing his discomfort, he became even angrier. Since you're not going to eat it anyway, I'll eat it for you. You can't beat me anyway. Bei Yao felt uncomfortable seeing this scene. Pei Chuan was being bullied again. Just as he was about to eat the biscuit, Minjun came over and reminded him, his biscuit is dirty. Chunhu, don't eat it. Another boy immediately added, Minjun is right. Pei Chuan often wets his pants, so his biscuit will be dirty. Hearing this, Chunhu threw the biscuit to the side. The poor biscuit was thrown on the ground, which made Pei Chuan very upset. He suddenly grabbed Chunhu's collar, startling him. You mute. What do you want to do? The two began to shove each other, but it seemed Chunhu still had the upper hand. Let go, let go. Pei Chuan opened his mouth and bit Chunhu's hand. Chunhu started crying loudly. The classroom gradually became chaotic, and the students backed away in fear. I'm scared. Pei Chuan is scary, he bites. Teacher Xiao rushed in. What's wrong? Why are you fighting again? She hurried towards Pei Chuan. Xiao Chuan, let go. Don't be afraid. I'm here. Chunhu was still crying and kept hitting Pei Chuan's head. His actions also stunned Bei Yao. Pei Chuan, Teacher Xiao. She was still trying to soothe Pei Chuan's anger. Xiao Chuan, let go, don't be afraid. I'm here. At this moment, he slowly regained his composure. Realizing his actions just now, he slowly released his grip. There was a wound on Chunhu's hand. This made Chunhu cry out loud. Teacher, go. Teacher Zhao hurriedly picked him up. All right, I'll take you out. It doesn't hurt anymore. It doesn't hurt. She was trying to soothe Chunhu's frightened heart. Just then, Bei Yao ran over with the lotus flower and handed it to Pei Chuan. Here you go. She even imitated others and said to him, it doesn't hurt anymore, it doesn't hurt. Bei Yao's hand gently and softly touched his hand. Pei Chuan was stunned by this scene. Bei Yao smiled happily. Doesn't it hurt anymore? Contrary to her attitude, he gently brushed Bei Yao's hand away. Pei Chuan didn't forget to pick up the lotus flower and slowly toss it onto the table. He steered his wheelchair in the other direction, which made Bei Yao a little embarrassed. Pei Chuan is still ignoring me. The kindergarten was very chaotic at this time, and the children kept accusing, Pei Chuan is a puppy, right? He also wets his pants. He's dirty. Bei Yao, don't play with him anymore. Hearing these words, Bei Yao uncomfortably responded to everyone. He's not a puppy. His name is Pei Chuan. My mommy said Chuan means river, and rivers are clean. Bei Yao's voice echoed repeatedly in the room. He's not dirty. Pei Chuan's childish eyes looked at her. A gentle breeze blew, and the wind chimes made a pleasant sound. Pei Chuan sat at his desk, looking out the window. I'm not dirty. In his daily life, he always lived a very regular life. Every time I go to the bathroom, I wash my hands clean. Even without his parents by his side, he was still very mature. The way my mom taught me to dress myself isn't difficult for me. Pei Chuan recalled the moment his father took him out. My father said my name means all rivers run into the sea. I don't understand what that means, but I know it's a good name. But something happened that made Pei Chuan very unfortunate. My legs were gone. I became a dirty existence. So no matter how nice my name sounds, my soul is lost because of these legs. Time passed quickly, and it was time for school to end. Parents quickly picked up their children. Mom, I want to eat sausage after school. Dad, take me to the park after dinner. Chunhu's parents also arrived. They kept blaming teacher Zhao and Pei Chuan. Teacher, is this the little brat? If anything happens to my Huzi, I'll kill you. Seeing Bei Yao still protecting Pei Chuan, Chunhu's mother was very unhappy. What's this girl trying to do? It's none of your business. Stand aside. Seeing her so angry, teacher Zhao hurried forward to appease her. I'm sorry, Chunhu's parents. I didn't take good care of the children. Go and check on Chunhu. Half an hour passed, and Bei Yao was still sitting beside Pei Chuan, waiting for his family to pick him up. At this moment, Pei Chuan's mother Zhang Wanwan hurried over and shouted, Xiao Chuan. Seeing her appear, Pei Chuan reacted. Mom. Seeing the change in his attitude, Bei Yao was surprised. She gently stepped forward and rubbed his head. Let's go home, son. Their interaction also made Bei Yao understand that Pei Chuan could speak, he just didn't speak much. Time quickly turned to evening. Bei Yao asked herself, I wonder when he will be willing to talk to me again. Inside the house, Wanwan gently asked Pei Chuan, Xiao Chuan, I heard from the teacher, why did you bite Chun-Hu? Pei Chuan explained somewhat helplessly, he snatched my biscuit. His answer also made her fall into deep thought. There were biscuits, chocolates, and other things at home. Her son wouldn't fight over a biscuit. Thinking of this, Wanwan gently hugged Pei Chuan tightly. Afraid that he would be sad, she quickly reached out and rubbed his head. Mom is going to cook. Dinner will be ready soon. Xiao Chuan, do you want some snacks? After saying that, Wanwan bustled into the kitchen. At this time, the door opened, and Pei Chuan's father, Pei Haobin, slowly walked in. I'm home. Wanwan's attitude was very uncomfortable, and she didn't even acknowledge him. He continued to approach and rubbed Pei Chuan's head. He greeted him, Dad's home. At this moment, he anxiously called out, Dad. Seeing him like this made Haobin's heart ache. Suddenly, Wanwan slowly stood up and reminded him, Xiao Chuan, go to bed. She gently picked him up, but he kept whining, Mom, I want to take a bath. Hearing this, Haobin immediately instructed, Xiao Chuan, go take a bath. Dad is too hungry. Dad will eat first. But Wanwan seemed to want to avoid the issue. It's not very hot today. You didn't sweat much, and you're not dirty. Let's wash another day. But Pei Chuan stubbornly repeated, I want to take a bath. Hearing these words, she suddenly stopped. After a while, the water finally boiled, and Wanwan carefully poured the hot water into the bathtub. Pei Chuan slowly sat in the hot bathtub. Wanwan's hands trembled slightly with incomprehension. Tears kept streaming down her face, but he was unusually silent. Time went back to the past, to when Pei Chuan had to lie in a pool of blood. Every time I see these amputated legs, the scene of that day clearly appears before my eyes, and no matter how hard I try, I can't get rid of it. The scene at that time made Wanwan very obsessed, like a mark deeply imprinted in the depths of her soul. Wanwan and Haobin's relationship developed a rift because of this. Because of his father's work, Xiao Chuan lost his legs due to criminal retaliation. He was only 4 years old that day. He was in so much pain, excruciating pain. A happy family was broken just like that. As his mother, how could I not hate? How could I let go? Time shifted to late at night, and Wanwan gently took care of Pei Chuan. If you need to pee, you must tell the teacher and Mom understand. He nodded obediently, yes, Mom. Remembering something, Pei Chuan quickly shouted, Mom, tell me a story from before. She smiled and nodded in agreement. Okay. Suddenly, the sound outside startled him. At this time, someone kept knocking on the door and shouting, Dr. Zheng, are you home? There's an emergency. Seeing someone in danger, Wanwan had no choice but to leave with worry. Watching her turn and leave, Pei Chuan looked sadly at her back. He didn't call his mother back to the room, but just looked at her sadly. The past was the happiest time of his life. You've grown a little taller. Xiao Chuan needs to eat more so you can grow as tall as Dad. Pei Chuan also knew that Haobin had wiped away his tears many times in frustration. Thinking about his own miserable fate, he thought too much and couldn't fall asleep. His eyes were dark, but he didn't care about these things. There was only one thought in his mind. I will never be as tall as Dad. A few days passed. Yilan walked towards the apartment building with Bei Yao. She thought to herself, Teacher Zhao said Pei Chuan didn't come to kindergarten today. He's going straight to elementary school in September. I want to go see Pei Chuan with Mom. Just like in my past life, he didn't even finish kindergarten. Bei Yao knocked on the door worriedly. A voice came from inside. Come in. Seeing the two of them, Pei Haobin was a little surprised. Hello. Yilan greeted him with a smile. Hello, Officer Pei. My daughter, Yao Yao, is Pei Chuan's classmate. She wants to bring him a piece of cake. This is Uncle Pei. Although a little scared, Bei Yao still handed over the cake and softly said, Hello, Uncle Pei. Seeing how well-behaved she was, Pei Haobin smiled and rubbed her head. Hello, Yao Yao. Xiao Chuan is doing his homework in his room. Please come in and sit down. Seeing them come in, he said with a smile, I'll get you some water. Yilan quickly shook her head and refused. No, I just came to deliver the cake. Officer Pei, you can go ahead with your work. Yao Yao will go see Xiao Chuan, give him the cake, and then we'll leave. Hearing this, he smiled and looked at the little girl. Okay, Yao Yao, come with me. Walking to the door of the room, Pei Haobin politely knocked. Xiao Chuan, your classmate is here. Pei Chuan, who was doing his homework, looked back in surprise upon hearing this. Bei Yao nervously carried the cake inside. This is Fong Minjun's birthday cake. She looked at him innocently. Pei Chuan, this is for you. This also surprised him. The paper airplane, the lotus flower, the cake. She really is. Pei Chuan looked at the cake coldly, a girl unafraid of failure. He still sat there motionless. She's a year younger than me, so she probably has another year of kindergarten. I'm starting school next month, so I probably won't see her for a long time. Seeing that he still didn't react, Beay Yao kept holding out the cake. Take it. Pei Chuan reluctantly reached out and took the cake. Pei Chuan finally understands me. Seeing that the cake had been delivered, Beay Yao turned to leave. Remember to eat it. I'm going. Suddenly, a hand grabbed her, leaving her stunned. She remembered the past, and her face turned pale with fright. This was too similar to when Pei Chuan grabbed Chun Hu by the collar. So Bei Yao pleaded like a little rabbit, "Don't bite me." Hearing her say this, Pei Chuan turned back to his desk. Seeing him acting so strangely also stunned Bei Yao, leaving her unsure of what had happened. Discovering something Pei Chuan had slipped into her pocket surprised her. Time passed, and the scene shifted to Bei Yao's small apartment. She looked at the chocolate bar in her hand with surprise. Seeing the chocolate bar, Yilan smiled and said, "Xiao Chuan gave you this. It looks expensive." This left her a little dazed. Really? She gradually became uneasy. Yilan gently advised, "Keep it. If Mom makes anything delicious in the future, you can bring some of Xiao Chuan." Hearing this, she obediently nodded in agreement. Just thinking about the chocolate bar in her hand made Bei Yao happy. "I'll give some to Mom." Yilan smiled and shook her head. "You eat it. Mom doesn't like sweets." Bei Yao looked in another direction. "Then I'll give some to Dad." Yilan gently rubbed her head. "Dad doesn't like it either. You eat it." Hearing this, Bei Yao immediately took a bite of the chocolate. As soon as she tasted the first bite, her eyes lit up. Tasting it improved her mood considerably. "I'm going to save the rest to eat slowly." The scene shifted to the kindergarten. Voices could be heard chatting. "I'm starting elementary school this year." "Me too." "That's great. I want to go too." Chunhu looked at Minjun beside him. "Minmin, are you going?" A slight worry showed on her face. "I'm not going. Mom says I'm too young." Chunhu pointed at himself proudly and added, "Pei Chuan is going too. I'm going to hit him for biting me." Bei Yao overheard all of this. Her face darkened, and she sighed. "I have to repeat another year of kindergarten. I'll always be a year behind Pei Chuan." If all of Pei Chuan's classmates are like Chunhu, the more she thought about it, the more worried she became. Won't he ever have any friends? At this moment, teacher Zhao walked up and called out, "Children, it's almost time to go home. It's Yao Yao's birthday again today. Let's sing happy birthday to our friend together." Everyone nodded in agreement. Okay, they surrounded Bei Yao and sang, "Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you." These lively birthday wishes and songs brought her back to her senses. "Happy birthday, Yao Yao. Let's hold hands and celebrate together." Applause rang out continuously in the spacious room. Bei Yao was a little embarrassed and didn't dare look directly at everyone. Time gradually shifted to evening. Yilan brought Bei Yao her dinner. "Here's your sweet boiled egg." Bei Yao asked her mother thoughtfully, "Mom, can I make a wish for my birthday?" Curious, Yilan replied, "Go ahead." Without much hesitation, Bei Yao suggested, "I want to go to kindergarten." But Yilan refused her request. "No, you have to be 5 years old to go to kindergarten. You're not old enough, so don't even think about going early. The 5-year-old boys and girls are learning to write. You'd just be playing games in kindergarten." Her attitude became very determined. "I won't play games. I want to learn to write too." Yilan sighed at her stubbornness. "Yao Yao, listen to me. If you fall behind at the starting line, you won't be able to catch up later." Just then, Bailey Kai, Yao Yao's father, came out, and her voice rang out, "Wait for me." Bei Yao ran ahead, leaving the two of them puzzled. Looking at the multiplication table and other knowledge she had written down, they were astonished. This was knowledge typically learned in first grade. Yilan was very confused. "How do you know these things?" Bei Yao continued, "It's written on the kindergarten wall, so I learned it." She thought to herself, afraid of her mother's suspicion, so she chose to write something simple. Bei Yao looked at their faces expectantly. Witnessing this scene, Bailey Kai became very excited. "Our Yao Yao is a genius." This made Bei Yao a little happy. Her dad wasn't as suspicious as her mom. Yilan was still very doubtful and continued to ask, "What's 2 plus 2? She pretended to think for a moment and answered 4. It seemed these calculations didn't pose a challenge for her. Seeing Bei Yao's determination to go to school and the talent she displayed, they were overjoyed. Yilan immediately decided, "Then we'll go and register you for kindergarten. Mom will find you a teacher tomorrow." Time passed, and heavy rain fell outside. Wan earnestly instructed, Xiao Chuan is starting kindergarten soon. Remember to ask the teacher if you have any questions. Her son, Pei Chuan, nodded in agreement. Haobin drove Pei Chuan to school. Let's go. He didn't forget to look back at Wan. Bye, Mom. She quickly waved goodbye behind him. At this moment, he felt a little lost. I don't want to go to kindergarten. But as he thought about the situation at home, his expression gradually became thoughtful. I have to go, because if I go to kindergarten, Mom will be willing to talk to Dad. Pei Chuan understood that he was the bridge that could allow them to communicate with each other. I want a complete family, even if my body isn't complete. The scene quickly shifted to Chaoyang Elementary School. Pei Chuan sat quietly in his wheelchair, and a gentle voice rang out. Hello, shout, Pei Chuan. I'm teacher Yu. I'm your father's friend. She was Yu Qian, the Chinese language teacher. She continued, I'll teach you and take care of you from now on. Hearing this, Pei Chuan smiled and nodded. Yu Qian turned to Haobin and said, You go to work. Leave him to me. He nodded. Dad's leaving, okay. Before leaving, he still added uneasily, if you need to use the restroom, raise your hand and tell the teacher. Remember. He obediently nodded. I remember. Yu Qian slowly pushed Pei Chuan down the long corridor. There are many new friends in kindergarten. She chatted happily with him as they walked. Maybe you'll even meet friends who were in your kindergarten class before. These words made Pei Chuan feel a little uncomfortable, reminding him of the people he used to study with. I don't want to see anyone. Inside the classroom, noisy voices still echoed. It's raining so hard today. Yeah, luckily my dad drove me to school. My mom brought me. The rain is too heavy. Even umbrellas are useless. We're all soaked. Teacher Yu Qian slowly pushed Pei Chuan into the classroom. Luckily, my parents brought me early. Otherwise, I would have been late. When they saw Pei Chuan, all the students immediately became unusually quiet. Whispers of discussion constantly arose. Why is he in a wheelchair? Yu Qian quickly pushed him to a seat. Xiao Chuan, sit here. The murmur started again. He doesn't have legs. It's true. Chunhu's face gradually became very unsightly. They were in the same class now. Yu Qian smiled and introduced herself. You saw me yesterday when you came to register. I'm teacher Yu. Her voice was very warm. Some children haven't arrived yet, so let's arrange the seats first. The students in the class happily nodded in unison. Okay. She continued. Xiao Chuan in our class has injured his legs, so he needs everyone's care. I'd like to ask, which brave and kind child is willing to be his deskmate? The students quickly raised their hands. Yu Qian smiled and asked, then, Xiao Chuan, who do you want to sit with? Pei Chuan indifferently raised his eyes and looked towards the back, his gaze startling and unsettling the entire class. He looked so fierce. His eyes are scary. Chunhu immediately added, I'm telling you, when Pei Chuan was in kindergarten, he wet his pants, and he bites people too. This frightened the children. How could he be like that? Chunhu had been sneering. The fierce look he'd given them earlier made Yu Qian feel a little awkward. Just then, a voice rang out. Present. Hearing the familiar voice, Pei Chuan slowly turned his head. Yu Qian smiled and said, Bei Yao is here too. There are 3 seats left. Choose one. She nodded in agreement and looked around the classroom. As soon as she saw Pei Chuan, her eyes lit up. I want to sit at the same table as Pei Chuan. Without thinking, Bei Yao hurried towards him. Pei Chuan's attitude became very cold. Move. He thought to himself, who needs your pity? Stay away from me. Hearing these words, Bei Yao was a little surprised. She quickly replied, but I'm short. Her expression became pitiful as she pleaded, short people can't see the blackboard if they sit in the back. Seeing Bei Yao's persistence, Pei Chuan didn't say anything more. He reluctantly let Bei Yao sit next to him. Their brief exchange made her very happy. Pei Chuan just talked to me. After the classroom settled down, Yu Qian picked up the textbooks and walked to the front. Since everyone is seated, teacher, you will now hand out the books. Can you all help me distribute them? The students nodded happily in agreement. Okay. The classroom immediately became more boisterous than ever. While distributing the books, Chunhu quickly spotted a wrinkled Chinese textbook. It seemed he was up to something. He promptly tossed the Chinese textbook in front of Pei Chuan. A smug look spread across Chunhu's face. He sneered, this tattered book is for you. Let's see what you do. But Pei Chuan didn't seem to care about his actions. Pei Chuan slowly picked up the Chinese textbook, preparing to write his name on it. Bei Yao, sitting next to him, smiled and complimented. Pei Chuan, your handwriting is so beautiful. Chun-Hu quickly handed a book to Bei Yao. Hey, this is yours. She happily took the book. Thank you, Chun-Hu. He quickly turned his face away. Bei Yao held the book and continued to write her name. Meanwhile, a cute girl with short hair chimed in with a smile. My name is Anai Hui. What's your name? She turned her head happily and introduced herself. My name is Bei Yao. She looked at Pei Chuan beside her. What's your name? Pei Chuan's attitude was very cold, unwilling to pay attention to her, which made her a little embarrassed. It's okay. Just then, a boy sitting next to Anai Hui smiled and introduced himself. My name is Jiyu Xinhua, and I'm 5 years old. The three of them chatted happily and enthusiastically. Bei Yao remembered something and glanced at Pei Chuan, which made him feel a little uncomfortable. Look again, and I'll tear your flower bud. His attitude was very cold, as if he didn't want to pay attention to what was happening. The scene shifted to another location, inside a garment factory. Fong Minjun's mother chatted with Yilan in surprise. Your Yao Yao is only 4 years old, and you're already sending her to kindergarten. How can she keep up with the 5-year-olds? She just smiled gently and replied, my Yao Yao is quite gifted. She can already do some math problems. She asked to go to kindergarten herself. This made Fong Minjun's mother uncomfortable. My Minmin is older than Bei Yao by more than half a month. This thought made Minjun's mother even more unwilling to accept the situation. We've been competing for most of our lives. I can't lose to Zhao Yilan. If that silly Bei Yao can go to kindergarten, then Minmin can too. It was soon time for school to end, and Pei Haobin quickly went to pick up Pei Chuan. Meanwhile, Yu Qian kept reminding the students, children, line up in order. Pei Haobin remembered something and suggested with a smile, Yao Yao is also in kindergarten and in the same class as you, Xiao Chuan. Since it's on the way, why don't we give your friend a ride home? But he coldly refused. No need, Dad. Mom will worry if she doesn't see you when we get home. Hearing this, Pei Haobin could only say, you're right. Let's go then. So, Pei Haobin quickly took Pei Chuan back to their familiar home. After walking a short distance, he didn't forget to look back. Bei Yao still had an innocent smile on her face as she said goodbye. Goodbye, Pei Chuan. He didn't bother to respond to her gesture. The scene shifted to the office. Seeing Yu Qian's pensive look, another teacher asked curiously, Teacher Yu, why do you look so worried? She sighed and explained the situation. Teacher Fong's daughter has been assigned to our class, and I'm thinking about how to arrange the seating. Originally, the number of students in our class was just right for 2 students per desk, but now, the other teacher immediately suggested, I think it's best to let Pei Chuan have a desk to himself. But Yu Qian immediately refused without thinking. That won't do. It's already unfortunate enough for a child to have a physical disability, and their hearts are very sensitive. If I let Bei Yao and Fong Minjun sit together, how would Pei Chuan feel? The teacher didn't seem to care about these things. These days, I've observed a lot. Pei Chuan's personality is very strange. He barely interacts with any of his classmates. Bei Yao is so cute and speaks so sweetly, but Pei Chuan doesn't bother to respond. The teacher's memory flashed back to scenes of Bei Yao chatting happily with her friends. I've seen it many times. Whenever Bei Yao gets close, Pei Chuan pushes her hand away, as if not allowing anyone to invade his territory. This sometimes makes Bei Yao feel awkward. So now it seems the teacher wants Yu Qian to arrange the seats according to her previous analysis. Just let him sit by himself. The next morning, Minjun walked into the classroom and greeted everyone with a smile. My name is Fong Minjun, and I'm 4 years old. I hope I can integrate well with everyone. Everyone in the class applauded. A classmate said, I know her. Her dad is also a teacher at our school. Everyone kept discussing amongst themselves, is she teacher Fong's daughter? She's so pretty, pure, and innocent. Isn't she a little jade maiden? These compliments made Minjun very proud. Yu Qian glanced at Pei Chuan worriedly, thinking to herself, from the time he enrolled until now, I haven't seen Pei Chuan raise his hand to ask the teacher for permission to go to the bathroom. After all, he's a child with quite sensitive self-esteem, and changing seats might hurt him even more. Pei Chuan still sat quietly in his seat. Having no other choice, she arranged for Minjun to sit on one side. This seat is close to the podium. Can little Minjun sit here? This made Minjun very uncomfortable. She resentfully thought, someone like Pei Chuan, who doesn't have legs, even has a desk mate. So why do I have to sit alone? Didn't Pei Chuan always sit alone before? Previously, she looked around uneasily. I miss my mom. I want to go back to kindergarten. Suddenly, she noticed Bei Yao's innocent face looking at her. No, Minjun seemed to regain her original resolve. I can't go back. I promised my mom that I have to study hard. This strengthened Minjun's determination. I must get higher scores than Bei Yao. After a while, the bell rang. All the students surrounded Minjun, chatting. Min, I didn't expect you to come to kindergarten. I thought it would be a long time before I saw you again. You're so pretty. Can I be your friend? On the other side, Bei Yao happily took out an apple she had brought from home. She placed it in front of Pei Chuan and looked at him expectantly. Pei Chuan, I want to eat an apple. Seeing that he still didn't react, she picked up the apple again. It's really delicious. Seeing that Pei Chuan still didn't want to talk to her, Bei Yao had to take the apple back and ask the other two, do you want to eat an apple? And Ai Hui and Xinhua happily nodded in agreement. Yes, yes, yes. Just then, Pei Chuan's hand also clenched. Bei Yao happily picked up a fruit knife and peeled the apple continuously. She quickly divided the apple between Ai Hui and Xinhua. After cutting it, she said, here you go. This made Pei Chuan, who was sitting on the side, feel unhappy. Chenu also quickly came forward and said, give me some too. Bei Yao didn't think much of it and immediately nodded, handing him an apple slice. Here you go. With Bei Yao's personality, she was very popular in the class. Chenu didn't forget to add, Bei Yao, I'll take you to catch sparrows this spring festival. Hearing him say this, although she was a little stunned, she still nodded in agreement. Okay. Chenu happily took the apple slice and left. Pei Chuan still sat quietly in his seat without any reaction. He still tried hard not to look at Bei Yao beside him. So she's this nice to everyone. I'm not special. Thinking of this, he was very unhappy and kept his distance from Bei Yao. His actions also hurt Bei Yao a little. Does Pei Chuan hate me? Outside, Yue Huan also witnessed all of this. She felt a little sad, thinking to herself, maybe Teacher Zheng was right. Pei Chuan doesn't like Bei Yao, even if they sit at the same desk. He'll still bully her. Time shifted to after school. Yu Qian came forward to chat. Has her dad not come yet? Sit here and wait for a while. He nodded knowingly. Mem. After thinking for a moment, she moved a little closer to him. Xiao Chuan, do you not want to sit at the same desk with Bei Yao? I'm asking you, do you want to sit alone? A bittersweet, sad smile appeared on her face. Or do you want to sit with Bei Yao or with Fang Minjun? This made Pei Chuan hesitate a bit. He was about to say something, but his throat felt choked. His attitude turned cold again, and he immediately declared, sit alone. Hearing him say this, Yu Qian had no choice but to leave. When she saw her go out, tears fell down Pei Chuan's face. He helplessly tried to wipe away his tears to hide his vulnerability. Time shifted to the next morning. Bei Yao happily ran into the classroom. Luckily, I'm not late. She looked at Pei Chuan. She already held a bamboo dragonfly in her hand. Bei Yao felt a little happy. Today, I must make Pei Chuan happy with this dragonfly. She quickly brought the dragonfly to Pei Chuan and shouted, look. His expression turned cold. Ignoring his expression, Bei Yao beamed, almost strangely radiant. This can fly. Sensing his continued indifference, she demonstrated, I'll show you. You have to rub it hard like this, rub it. The bamboo dragonfly quickly ascended into the sky. Pei Chuan and Bei Yao watched happily as the bamboo dragonfly slowly climbed higher. Look, look. Both were engrossed as the dragonfly soared. As soon as the dragonfly landed, Bei Yao ran over to pick it up, looking at it preciously in her hands. As usual, Bei Yao sat close to Pei Chuan. Seeing he was still unresponsive, she immediately started talking. Don't be angry anymore. He thought silently. She doesn't know anything. She doesn't know I've already abandoned her, and she doesn't know I'm not angry anymore. Thinking this, Pei Chuan reached out and took the bamboo dragonfly from Bei Yao's hand. Seeing him no longer angry made her happy. Here, a myriad of thoughts ran through Pei Chuan's mind. I don't have legs. If I let it fly, I won't be able to pick it up myself. Pei Chuan simply stroked the bamboo dragonfly in his hand. The thought kept surfacing in his mind. The only thing I can do is hold it tight. The bell rang for class. Bei Yao, always cheerful, chattered, let's go to class. Luckily, I'm not late. Pei Chuan, I want some water. Hurry, hurry, we're going to be late. Pei Chuan was about to get Bei Yao some water when Yu Chuan called out, everyone quiet down. Bei Yao, go sit with Fang Minjun. The classroom instantly fell silent. Yu Chuan repeated herself, Bei Yao, before class starts, hurry up and move your things over to Fang Minjun's desk. Her words left Bei Yao looking at Pei Chuan blankly. Why is the teacher making me move? He remained silent, offering no answer. She didn't know that he felt guiltier than anyone. Left with no choice, Bei Yao started packing her things. She looked at him with reluctant eyes. Looking at the cute teddy bear in her hand, she made a thoughtful decision. If I leave, Pei Chuan will be very lonely. She thought of her beloved panda, which had kept her company for so long. I'll let it stay here with Pei Chuan. Bei Yao placed the teddy bear in front of Pei Chuan, surprising him. It was her favorite toy. Sometimes during class, she would unconsciously stroke the teddy bear's ears, and sometimes she would even arrange a seat for it. This made him feel guilty as he watched Bei Yao leave. Is her pitiful and reluctant expression because she doesn't want to leave me, or because she doesn't want to leave the little panda? Pei Chuan felt unhappy. She definitely doesn't want to leave the panda, not me. Meanwhile, Bei Yao is thinking, Pei Chuan doesn't like me, and he doesn't like my toy either. And so, this was the first day Bei Yao didn't sit with Pei Chuan. Minjun quickly pointed out, there's too much trash in the desk. Can you throw it away for me? Bei Yao didn't mind and nodded happily. No problem. Time passed, and Minjun handed her a book. I'm too lazy to get up. Can you hand in my homework for me? She agreed again. Okay. Bei Yao took the book to hand in Minjun's homework, making Pei Chuan, who was watching, very angry. Even though he was angry, he could only acknowledge his own decision. This was my choice. She's not my desk mate anymore, and she's not my friend anymore. Time passed, and autumn arrived, bringing cooler weather. Elon happily held Bei Yao's hand as they walked in the residential complex. Seeing a familiar figure, Bei Yao greeted cheerfully, "Hello, Annie." "Hello, Min." Coincidentally, Minjun's mother was walking down with her daughter and greeted Elon from afar. I thought Yao Yao was a fireball. Minjun and her mother were dressed stylishly, while Elon and Bei Yao were bundled up, which annoyed Elon a little. It's so cold. Who has time to worry about looking good? Being warm is enough. But she still replied politely, that outfit Min is wearing must be expensive, right? This made Minjun's mother very proud, and she laughed, not much. The coat was 30 yuan, and the scarf was a gift from her aunt. This left Elon and Bei Yao speechless, not knowing what to say. Minjun, standing beside them, found it strange. Dad said the coat was 26 yuan. Her mother reminded her coldly, if Mom says it's 30, it's 30. Finals are coming soon. You must do well on the test, you hear. A smug look appeared on Minjun's mother's face as she added, if you do well, Mom will give you a reward. Hearing the words a reward, Minjun's eyes lit up. Okay. Time flew by, and soon it was time for the final exam. Yu Chuan kept reminding the class, remember to write your name on the test paper. Do you hear? Answer the questions carefully. Pei Chuan looked at Bei Yao worriedly. Will she be able to do this question? Bei Yao's face was alight with joy and excitement as she worked on her test paper. This made Pei Chuan try hard to focus. Whether she does well or not has nothing to do with me. Meanwhile, Fang Minjun kept sneaking glances at Bei Yao. Mom told me not to let Bei Yao copy my answers. Time flew by, and soon it was time to hand out the results. Yu Qian announced, tomorrow is the start of winter break. When you go home, I'll compile a list of the questions you got wrong, so keep your test paper safe. Murmurs rippled through the classroom. I got a 75. What did you get? I got an 82. I only got a 70. I'm going to get scolded when I get home. Yu Qian quickly handed Pei Chuan his paper. Pei Chuan, Xiao Chuan, this is your test. You did very well. Keep it up. He took his 100-point test. Thank you, teacher. He nonchalantly stuffed it into his bag. Suddenly, a voice rang out. Yao Yao, what did you get? This question piqued Pei Chuan's curiosity as well. Bei Yao smiled, looking at her test paper. My lines weren't straight, so I lost 1 point. These words made Fang Minjun freeze. She had only scored a 70. This is bad. If Mom finds out when I get home. Time quickly passed to the end of school, and Yu Qian was waiting with the students for their parents. Pei Chuan quickly called out, Dad, just taking Pei Chuan home. His father, Hao Bin, asked, surprised, what about your friend? What if her mom is coming to pick her up? He quickly replied, if we see her on the way, we can say hi, or we can send a message to the teacher beforehand. Although a little surprised, Hao Bin agreed. All right, the snow is falling heavily, and it's on the way. Hao Bin looked at Bei Yao and started a conversation. Yao Yao, how about I give you a ride home? This made her very happy. Okay, thank you, Uncle Pei. He smiled and turned to Yu Qian for help. I'll take her home since it's on my way. If her mom comes, could you send her a message? She immediately nodded. Of course. Hao Bin carefully reminded her, Yao Yao, remember to hold on to my coat and don't move around. Bei Yao obediently nodded in understanding. The surrounding classmates were all very envious. I want to try that too. I've never been in that kind of car. This made the classmates even more envious. I haven't even ridden a bicycle. Fong Minjun, watching this scene, felt a pang of resentment. I live in the same apartment complex as them. Why is Pei Chuan's dad only taking Bei Yao home and not me? On the way back, Hao Bean asked with a smile, Yao Yao, what score did you get? He drove slowly and attentively. She softly replied, 99. This made him exclaim, Yao Yao, you're so smart. Well done. She shyly smiled and replied, thank you, uncle. Pei Chuan, listening to this conversation, secretly smiled. Meanwhile, Fong Minjun's mother quickly saw the report card in her hand. My Mimin is so great. She got a 90. What about that Bei Yao? What did she get? Although reluctant, Fong Minjun had to lie. 66. This made her mother very happy, praising her repeatedly. Oh, my good daughter. Hearing this, Fong Minjun felt a pang of guilt. Meanwhile, Chun-Hu's father was furious, repeatedly spanking his son's bottom. 50 points. Last place. Your brain is just 2. Neighbors in the next building could even hear the argument between Chun-Hu and his father. I'll definitely do better next time. That kid's voice is so loud. The scene shifted to outside the apartment building, where children were still gathered. Over here, so many firecrackers. The excited children looked up at the building and shouted, Fong Minjun, come down and play. Come down and play. Suddenly, Chun, who remembered that Bei Yao was always nice to him. Fong Minjun. He remembered the time Bei Yao shared her apple with him. He continued to shout, Bei Yao. At that moment, inside the large room, Bei Yao, Puan was concentrating on making dumplings, and Pei Chuan was helping his mother beside her. His hands were very deft, and he tried his best to make the most beautiful dumplings. Watching Pei Chuan's focused expression made Wan's heart ache. Xiao Chuan is always like this, quick to learn anything. He's also the only child in the class who scored a 100. The more she thought about it, the more she felt sorry for his fate. Such a smart and outstanding child, but his legs were taken away. Half his life is already ruined. The shouts of Bei Yao from outside made Pei Chuan pause slightly. Unfortunately, the dumpling wrapper he was working on suddenly tore, but he remained calm and continued to focus on making dumplings. His serious and pitiful appearance made Wan glance at him secretly, her eyes filled with a touch of sorrowful contemplation. It's New Year's, and still no friends have come to play. Xiao Chuan. Wan quickly took off her apron. Let's stop this. She walked over to where Pei Chuan was sitting and suggested, how about Mom takes you out to play? This surprised Pei Chuan. Go out to play. But he quickly refused. No. His face held a look of contemplation. He quickly looked out the window, as if calculating something. After a brief moment, he immediately changed his mind. Okay. Outside the apartment building, children were still playing tag, while inside, people were gathered playing mahjong. Seeing Wan, a neighbor greeted her with a smile. Dr. Jiang, come to play. Xiao Chuan is here too, right? She quickly waved her hand in response. Yes, everyone's playing. We're just here to take a look. A familiar voice rang out. Bei Yao was standing there, covering her eyes and counting, so her friends could run and hide. Chun-Hu, Minjun, and her other friends were playing happily together. After finishing counting, Bei Yao shouted with a smile, I'm coming to find you. A familiar figure in front of her immediately caught her attention. Her eyes widened, as if she couldn't believe what she was seeing. Pei Chuan was sitting quietly in his wheelchair, looking towards her. Bei Yao immediately called out, Pei Chuan. He still had a cold expression, even turning his head to look elsewhere. His indifference made Bei Yao a little sad. Pei Chuan is still ignoring me. I'll go find the other kids. She searched around the room where everyone was playing mahjong. He must be around here somewhere, right? She continued searching in different rooms, or maybe in here. After walking outside, Bei Yao shouted excitedly, I found everyone. The long search had tired her out a bit. He's not here either. Just then, a snowball fell from the sky, hitting Bei Yao directly on the head, making her scream. Pei Chuan, sitting to the side, continued to watch her every move intently. Whether from Wei Chu, feeling wronged/distressed, or pain, Bei Yao's tears kept falling. She quickly wiped them away, not wanting anyone to see. Still not forgetting her mission to find her friends, she quickly stood up. That was so dangerous. That was so dangerous. It almost got in my eye. My face is covered in snow. It's so wet. Just as Bei Yao passed by, Pei Chuan said in the warehouse. His voice was a little cold, making her turn around in surprise. This made Bei Yao very excited, and she ran in the direction he had indicated. I didn't hear wrong just now, did I? But he seemed so cold. Seeing Bei Yao's joyful expression, Wan was a little surprised. What happened? You seem happy. The scene changed to the cluttered warehouse, where everyone was still playing hide and seek. Bei Yao suddenly appeared. I found you. This surprised her friends. Bei Yao, you peeked, didn't you? How could my plan be discovered? She shook her head and explained I didn't peek, but her friend still seemed unconvinced. I don't believe you. You definitely cheated. The sound of their conversation echoed in the warehouse. I don't believe you. You definitely peeked. I really didn't. Chun, who also stepped forward and pointed at Bei Yao, questioning her. If you didn't, why are you stammering? Bei Yao, who did you see first? Her expression became very bewildered, and she replied, I didn't see anyone. She covered her eyes with her hands. When I closed my eyes and counted, you all ran off to hide. Because in her heart, Bei Yao thought to herself, I'm a girl with the memories of a third grader. I can't bully little kids. Her friends kept running outside to discuss amongst themselves. I knew it. She really peaked this time. Let's hide over there. This made Pei Chuan feel even more inferior and self-reproachful. They didn't want to play with me anyway. I shouldn't have told her. Next time, I won't meddle in other people's business. His mood plummeted again. Mom, let's go home. Wan was a little surprised, but she nodded in agreement. Okay. She wondered, surprised, what was wrong with this child. He had been so happy just a moment ago. She quickly pushed Pei Chuan back towards home. This scene was witnessed by Bei Yao, who was about to call out his name, Pei, but the words died in her throat, and her eyes looked a little disappointed. Pei Chuan is leaving, but I haven't thanked him yet. Meanwhile, in the mahjong room, a discussion was taking place. My Minmin and Elon's Yao Yao are going to start first grade together. The children are growing up so fast, yes. One of the mothers looked at Elon. Elon, you don't need to be discouraged. If Yao Yao really can't keep up, she can just repeat kindergarten. She's still young after all. This made Elon confused. What are you talking about? Minjun's mother said with a smile, I heard that Yao Yao barely passed her final exam. She turned to Elon with a smile. Don't rush things. A solid foundation is the most important. At first, I also thought that if Minmin's scores weren't high, I'd let her repeat a year. Who knew that child would score a whopping 90? So go to first grade definitely won't be a problem. This surprised Elon, and she laughed inexplicably. Who told you my Yao Yao barely passed? My Yao Yao is a good student. She was only 1 point away from a perfect 100. Minjun's mother looked disdainful. Such a braggart. She added, Zhao Elon, you don't have to make up these kinds of lies to fool people. Faced with her words, Elon was very confused. Lies. Doesn't teacher you have the test papers? Minjun's mother thought nervously. If she kept talking, she'd give herself away. Could Bei Yao really have scored 99? It was humiliating. How embarrassing for her. Everyone in the room was praising Bei Yao, saying she was sure to be successful. At her age, some children couldn't even recognize all the characters. They had to admit she was smart. Elon was delighted. Oh, it's nothing. Thank you, thank you. Minjun's mother grew angrier and angrier. This was the first time Elon had ever bested her. She gritted her teeth, determined to ask Minjun what was going on when she got home. After a while, Minjun's cries rang out. She kept wiping the tears from her face. 90 is a lot. Shinshin only got 50. Minjun's mother wouldn't let it go. But I want you to beat Bei Yao. Minjun cried pitifully. Besides Bei Yao, I got the highest score. Mom, I'll definitely try harder to beat Bei Yao next time. But her mother continued to scold her. After the new year, you know what you have to do, right? Minjun nodded repeatedly. Yes, I know, Mom. Time passed, and Bei Yao continued to go to school. In early spring, a new semester began, and this time, Fong Minjun studied even harder. Fong Minjun still had a cold expression. Sitting next to her was Chun Hu, who still looked fierce and bad-tempered. Bei Yao continued to glance at Pei Chuan, who was sitting to one side. He hadn't spoken to her since that day, which puzzled her. It was as if his gentle voice that day had been an illusion. Time flew by, and the students' voices rang out continuously. Yes, I understand. Yes, I understand. In the classroom, Yu Qian told all the students that in the last month of kindergarten, the school had introduced a new policy. From now on, there would be no more tests. Everyone was surprised. Really? The students stood up happily and shouted, great. This made Minjun uncomfortable. She asked herself, what if there are no more tests? Then I won't be able to surpass Bei Yao until first grade. Yu Qian continued to instruct, you must study hard in elementary school. The students nodded in agreement. Yes. Bei Yao looked thoughtfully at Pei Chuan. Why hadn't she seen him go out to play today? Pei Chuan looked at his still disabled legs and thought, Mom said they'll grow back when I'm older, but I'm already 6, and they still haven't grown back. The scene shifted to nighttime. Wan and Hao Bin were arguing loudly. Wan, calm down. Xiao Chuan is still too young. His body can't handle the pain of practicing with prosthetics. The problem is, no first grade teacher will be able to help Xiao Chuan go to the bathroom. I'll beg the teachers. Hao Bin continued, I'll give them gifts and beg them for help. But Wanwan clearly didn't want to hear this. And what about later? What about when he's in 4th or 5th grade, then middle school and high school? Can you beg them forever? Pei Chuan listened silently to his parents' argument. I want to find a hospital to fit Xiao Chuan with prosthetics. Even if it bankrupts us, I want my son to stand up again. He just stood outside the door, listening to his parents argue. From kindergarten onwards, he never asked a teacher to help him go to the bathroom again. At this moment, Pei Chuan looked helplessly at his disabled legs. Mom said these legs would grow back when I'm older. I look at them every night before I go to sleep, but they still haven't grown back. In the room, Pei Chuan sat motionless. I don't know what prosthetics are, but I want to stand up again. Time passed, and the scene shifted to the school. Bei Yao narrated slowly. In the morning, the memories of 4th grade that surface in my mind are the clearest. Elon gently led Bei Yao by the hand to school. 2 major things happened in 4th grade. The first wasn't very important. The road from home to school was being repaired, and the children in the neighborhood had to take a detour to school every day. She continued, looking at her mother, Elon. The second thing was, when I was in 4th grade, my uncle hit someone with his car and had to pay a lot of money. Mom had to use all her savings to fill this bottomless pit. Looking at the homeroom teacher, she greeted, hello, teacher. She was still lost in her thoughts. I don't remember these things very clearly. Bei Yao looked thoughtful, but both of these things were pretty bad. A voice rang out, hello, Bei Yao's mother. The homeroom teacher came out and praised, I'm Tai Ching-yu, the 1st grade homeroom teacher. I've seen Bei Yao's kindergarten grades. She's a very good student. Elon was pleased. Thank you, teacher. I'll be troubling you in the future. Looking at the unfamiliar face before her, Bei Yao was stunned. She remembered her 1st grade teacher being named Hong Guanjing. In her memory, that woman would constantly hit her hand with a stick whenever she did something wrong. She had a very bad temper. Anyone who did their homework incorrectly would get their palms smacked. This made Bei Yao realize something important. That's right, I skipped a grade in this life, so my path is completely different from my last life. It seems she had some ideas about changing the future, so it's normal to have a different teacher. So, does this mean I can't know what will happen in the future? Over there, Tai Ching-yu quickly brought a stack of documents to Pei Chuan. Pei Chuan, let's play this game together. She handed him a small notebook. Look at this. Choose a name. Her face was kind. That person will become your desk mate. Tai Ching-yu thought to herself. There are 4 friends in the class who are Pei Chuan's neighbors. They can take care of this boy a bit more. Tai Ching-yu remembered what Yu Chuan had told her before. He's very sensitive. He never asked me to help him go to the bathroom. If you can, please take care of him a little more. This strengthened Tai Ching-yu's resolve. He's in kindergarten, so he doesn't know many characters. Maybe this will be fairer. Pei Chuan was still secretly looking at the names on the list. Fong Minjun has 3 characters. The one with the should be Li De. He kept thinking carefully about these names. She said she scored 99 points. I learned in kindergarten that if I don't seize the opportunity, she will become someone else's desk mate, and I will have nothing. Life hasn't been kind to me. Maybe I should be a little selfish. Pei Chuan immediately pointed to Bei Yao's name. Everyone in the class has their own desk mate. He unconsciously recalled Bei Yao's happy expression when she lost her baby teeth. I took away 3/4 of the chance that she would become someone else's desk mate. Even so, Pei Chuan still felt guilty. I'm not a good person. Time passed. After being led into the classroom, Bei Yao waved goodbye. Bye, Mom. Bye, Dad. The 2 worriedly instructed her, be good. Listen to the teacher. Do you hear? Looking at the scene before her, Bei Yao quickly regained her composure. Seeing that Pei Chuan was already waiting there, she greeted him happily. Pei Chuan, you came to school so early. Although she was very happy inside. I'm at the same desk as Pei Chuan again. I'm so happy. He showed no emotion at her enthusiastic greeting. A voice rang out. The children aren't all here yet. Bei Yao happily held a bunch of colorful counting rods in her hand. Let's play with these colorful ones. Pei Chuan nodded in agreement. She explained the rules of the game. Whoever goes first has the advantage. You go first. Minjun looked at her mother and reminded her, Mom, I'm going into the classroom. She nodded and instructed, you must study hard. Her gaze fell on Pei Chuan, and she quickly noticed him. It's that boy from the Pei family. Minjun said he got first place. Minjun slowly walked into the classroom. Yes, I know. She looked at Pei Chuan's disabled leg with some regret. Smart he is, but he's still a cripple. Finding a job and a wife in the future will probably be a big problem. I wonder if anyone would be willing to marry their daughter off to someone like that. The story also said that Pei Chuan doesn't know how to compromise. He's like the young bamboo that stood tall in a hailstorm last year, facing the wind and rain, letting it beat him, and in the end, he could only be broken by the wind. Bei Yao, on the other hand, was very excited, looking at the pile of counting rods in her hand. You won. Pei Chuan is so amazing. But Bei Yao is always so immature and soft. That girl, with the greatest tolerance of a child, endured Pei Chuan's coldness. Many times, Pei Chuan would secretly look at Bei Yao. In this hot summer, Pei Chuan never drank water at school. He would always bring water, and in the end, the water bottle would cross the 38th parallel, afraid she would be thirsty. He always gently placed it next to Bei Yao. Friend, resting on Bei Yao's desk. Time passed. Noticing a change in his body, Pei Chuan called out, Mom. Wan was a little surprised to see this. Did you lose a tooth? She stared blankly at the tooth in Pei Chuan's hand. His growth made her even happier. Our Xiao Chuan is growing into a young man. He nodded obediently. Reading aloud echoed through the school. A vine in front of Amon's door. A vine in front of Amon's door. Amon's freshly sprouted tender green. Bei Yao read the text earnestly and excitedly. Amon's freshly sprouted tender green. A snail carrying its heavy shell. Pei Chuan thoughtfully and silently let her continue to read aloud, climbing up step by step. There are 2 orioles in the tree. At this moment, a ruler repeatedly tapped the desk. Pei Chuan. Tai Qingyu interrupted in surprise and questioned, Pei Chuan, why aren't you singing with your friends? He still just looked at her silently, without saying a word. His look also surprised Tai Qingyu. This child, his eyes are like stagnant water. I can't see any fear of the teacher. She sternly reminded Pei Chuan, there's a problem with your leg. It doesn't mean you can't sing. Yu Qian scolded him in front of the whole class. This is very disrespectful to the teacher. Do you understand? Now, her voice rang out. I'll sing a line, and you sing after me. Bei Yao anxiously called out, Pei Chuan. Yu Qian was still humming the line, Amen, in front of the grapevine. He tried to open his mouth wide, gasping for air as if he had lost his voice. Grape.vine. All the classmates turned their gazes towards him. Immediately, the whole class burst into laughter, the sound of mockery echoing endlessly. Everything around him gradually darkened. Pei Chuan listened silently to everyone's laughter. He wasn't singing in tune. He was just gasping for breath. Tai Qingyu felt very uncomfortable and turned to scold the students. Stop laughing. What's so funny about learning to sing? Pei Chuan, continue singing after me. Seeing him so embarrassed, Bei Yao was at a loss. What should I do? I'm also afraid of the teacher. Even so, Bei Yao didn't want to give up. No, I have to help him out of this predicament. Thinking of this, she picked up her music book and sang loudly. The snail carries its heavy shell. Her singing made the whole class laugh boisterously. Chun-Hu, beside her, was doubled over with laughter. Bei Yao is so funny. The teacher didn't call on her, and she's singing off-key. Pei Chuan looked at Bei Yao with some surprise. When the teacher taught everyone to sing earlier, she clearly wasn't off-key. He understood her good intentions. She was trying to help him out. Her heart was already in turmoil. Oh no, Pei Chuan is looking at me. I'm so embarrassed. But Bei Yao still didn't care. She grinned, revealing her missing front tooth, and smiled at him. Otherwise, I wouldn't be so embarrassed. Her smile stunned Pei Chuan. He quickly turned his head to the other side and commented, missing front tooth. So ugly. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, they were in 3rd grade. Bei Yao walked into the classroom and greeted Pei Chuan with a smile. Good morning. Seeing her so happy, he replied with some confusion. Good morning. Pei Chuan noticed something was amiss and asked, where's your hair ribbon? Bei Yao sat down at her desk and, while taking out her books from her school bag, said, Mom said I'm in 3rd grade now, and wearing 2 pigtails is like a little kid, so I took them out. She smiled and touched her hair, asking, how is it? Does this hairstyle look good? Her words left Pei Chuan speechless for a moment. Although he thought it was beautiful, he stubbornly commented, ugly. It was the familiar venomous tongue that made Bei Yao sigh. Holding her math book, she had a thoughtful look on her face. I'm not as pretty as Feng Minjun. By chance, Pei Chuan saw Yilan taking out the trash. Out of curiosity, he quickly reached into the trash can and rummaged through it. Finding Bei Yao's 2 hair ribbons puzzled him. Why wasn't she wearing them? A strange sadness appeared on Pei Chuan's face. Do people really have to change when they grow up? Time flew by. Bei Yao was walking alone on the long road to school. Recalling everything that had happened, she felt a little sad and couldn't cheer up. Last night, her uncle had hit someone with his car, and her mother had almost used up all their family savings. To pay the compensation, she kicked the pebbles under her feet helplessly. Everything was still following the trajectory of her memories. Bei Yao kept blaming herself. I can't change anything. At the same time, Pei Chuan was being driven to school by his father and passed by her. He saw the girls running towards Bei Yao. Bei Yao, wait for us. Bei Yao. She turned her head in surprise. And I hui, hua ting. She quickly blended in with her friends. Suddenly, Pei Chuan called out, Dad. He quickly suggested, Dad, let me sit in the back next time. Halbean was puzzled. Why do you want to sit in the back? It's safer in the front, and it's easier for Dad to see you. He just looked at his own palm and explained, I can hold on to Dad's clothes if I sit in the back. I'm very strong. Later that evening, during a family dinner, Wan's voice rang out. A friend I met at the hospital said, she continued, Xiao Chuan's condition is now suitable for a prosthetic limb. Her friend had one installed before. Halbean was surprised to hear this. Can we believe that? Pei Chuan, sitting beside them, thought while eating a prosthetic limb. Of course. Wan turned to look at her son. Then, Xiao Chuan will be able to stand up. Are you happy? He nodded casually. Halbean also nodded in agreement. All right then, he decided quickly with a smile, I'll ask for leave for you tomorrow, and you can take Xiao Chuan for a checkup. 10 days later, Pei Chuan sat quietly on the bed, wearing a prosthetic limb. I have a prosthetic limb now. He looked thoughtfully at the machine-made prosthetic limb. It looked cold and lifeless. Because he was too eager, he slowly stood up. It had been so long that he had almost forgotten what it felt like to walk. The feeling that it was even more difficult than he had imagined made Pei Chuan feel helpless. He lost his footing and fell to the ground, crying out in pain. Even so, he didn't want to give up, trying to stand up shakily. The process of learning to walk was arduous, making Pei Chuan's whole body tremble strangely. After practicing for just a short while, he was able to stand unsteadily in the room. At that moment, Pei Chuan understood that the reason he fell was because these prosthetic legs made it impossible for him to stand firmly. There was only one thought in his mind. Don't give up. Pei Chuan tried to stand up. He tried to grit his teeth and get up. I must stand up. Outside the door, Wan and Halbean were anxiously watching Pei Chuan practice. Thinking of her son working so hard, Wan couldn't help but shed tears. Time passed, and Pei Chuan practiced diligently every day. From autumn to winter, cold snow began to fall outside, but he never stopped. After a period of time, Pei Chuan knew the time had come. Until spring arrived, he looked at himself in the mirror, finally able to walk with these prosthetic legs. Being able to stand steadily made Pei Chuan very happy. Pulling down his trouser legs, he thought, I'm no different from normal children. The scene changed to outside the school, where students were holding umbrellas and walking into the classroom. Hurry up, my shoes are all wet. The scene shifted to Class 1, Grade 4. Inside the classroom, Beay Yao was wiping the desks and chairs. A familiar figure walked in, immediately catching her attention. Looking at the scene before her, Beay Yao was stunned, her eyes wide with disbelief. Even the classmates were surprised. Is that him? Have his legs grown back? Pei Chuan walked into the school with a cold expression, seemingly indifferent to everything around him. Time seemed to stop as their eyes met unexpectedly, both blushing in surprise. She looked at him, thinking, how did he suddenly get so tall? She subconsciously recalled the Pei Chuan of the past. Right in my memory, Pei Chuan also wore prosthetic legs. This puzzled her greatly. In that brief memory, he rejected the prosthetics and returned to his wheelchair not long after. And it had something to do with me. Time flew by, and it was time to go home. Bei Yao packed her books while thinking, according to the current trajectory, Pei Chuan would still encounter that person when the road wasn't repaired. She glanced at him worriedly, thinking, I can't let him go home alone. The girls happily ran over and shouted, Bei Yao, let's go home. She waved her hand and said, you guys go home first. I have a stomachache and want to go to the restroom. Hearing this, everyone knowingly nodded. Okay, then I'll go first. She already had a plan in mind. Pei Chuan definitely wouldn't like acquaintances seeing him go home, so she would wait until everyone left, then pretend to go to the restroom. Leaving the classroom, Bei Yao felt a little uneasy. Seeing Bei Yao leave as well, Pei Chuan knew it was time to go home. Finally, everyone was gone. As evening gradually approached, Pei Chuan's solitary figure walked out. He didn't know that Bei Yao had secretly followed behind him. She followed from a distance, as if secretly checking for anything unusual. Watching Pei Chuan's every step, Bei Yao was a little worried. The way he walked was indeed unnatural. Sensing something was amiss, he turned his head in surprise, startling her. Embarrassed, she hurriedly walked forward. He felt confused. What did she mean by that? Watching Bei Yao's panic figure in front of him, he was even more speechless, deliberately leaving later. He thought in another direction. Is she planning to laugh at me or something? So curious. On the way home, the students kept discussing amongst themselves. Ding Wenxiang, do you know there's a legless boy in the 4th grade at our school? Wenxiang replied as he walked. I've seen him in a wheelchair. What about it? The other student continued. I heard the other day that his legs have grown back. He added somewhat smugly. Now he goes home by himself. Do you think he's wearing prosthetic legs? This piqued Wenxiang's interest even more. How can prosthetic legs walk like real legs? Prosthetic legs? Interesting. I really want to see him. The other student continued. I know. He takes that small road every day after school. The group of them walked along, excitedly discussing, walking so slowly like a turtle. I'll take you to see him. Let's go. Let's go. I'm too curious. Hearing their conversation, Beay Yao immediately realized something was wrong. It's him. The scene shifted to the familiar small road leading back to Pei Chuan's apartment building. At this moment, Wenxiang had grabbed Pei Chuan by the collar, shouting, Kid, let me see your prosthetic legs. Faced with such bullying, he wasn't afraid at all. Pei Chuan felt uncomfortable under Ding Wenxiang's gaze. Suddenly, Ding Wenxiang grabbed his hand tightly, making him wince in pain. His heart pounded. The boy was surprisingly strong. Without thinking, he shoved Ding Wenxiang backward. Still not used to his prosthetic leg, Pei Chuan stumbled and fell. Ding Wenxiang yelled, Hold him down. A group of boys pinned Pei Chuan down, leaving him struggling helplessly. Get off. Let me go. His eyes remained icy and unsettling. Let me go. Ding Wenxiang grabbed his hair furiously. You little bastard, I'll kill you. The group continued to torment Pei Chuan in the alleyway as surrounding students murmured. How can they bully him like that? Don't go over there. That's Ding Wenxiang from 6th grade. He's a thug. Look how big they are. Ding Wenxiang grinned viciously and reached for Pei Chuan's leg. Hold him down. Let me see what this kid's fake leg looks like. Their increasing pressure made it impossible for him to fight back. Go to hell. His voice trembled, close to despair. Go to hell. Go to hell. Ding Wenxiang and his gang were relentless, slowly pulling off his prosthetic leg. Go to hell, all of you. Just as Ding Wenxiang was about to strike again, a stick slammed against his head, making him cry out in pain. Who did that? Are you blind? His expression turned menacing as he looked back. Who dares hit me? Bei Yao's hand trembled around the stick, but she was determined not to let anyone bully Pei Chuan. The large group of boys was intimidating, and she felt a flicker of fear. You. But she gripped the stick tightly and shouted, Let him go. Flashback to the previous life. Voices echoed. Be smart, don't force our hand. Pei Chuan's prosthetic leg was pulled off by Ding Wenxiang and his gang for inspection. The surrounding students gossiped. So that leg of his is fake. Why does he have a fake leg? That's so weird. Mocking laughter followed. That prosthetic looks disgusting. Lying on the ground, Pei Chuan could only weep helplessly, seemingly in utter despair. But in this life, Bei Yao stood up for him. Though afraid, she wouldn't let anyone hurt him. This time, I will protect him. Seeing Bei Yao intervene, Ding Wenxiang laughed in surprise. A little brat trying to play hero. His menacing demeanor worried her. Ding Wenxiang continued toward her. You were pretty tough just now. Want another go? Despite trying to appear brave, Bei Yao's legs trembled. You, she threatened. Don't come any closer or you'll regret it. Ding Wenxiang scoffed, annoying. He reached for her menacingly. Don't think I won't hit you just because you're a girl. He grabbed her hair, causing her to swing the stick wildly in fear. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. He wouldn't relent. Damn it, I'm going to finish you off today. In desperation, Bei Yao shouted, Just try touching me. I'll tell Teacher Tai. Her words caught Pei Chuan's attention. He saw Bei Yao continuing to fight Ding Wenxiang for him. And my uncle, she yelled. My uncle is a policeman. Ding Wenxiang and his gang froze. A policeman? Bei Yao continued to threaten. I'll have my uncle arrest all of you. Sensing trouble, one of the boys urged, Boss, let's go. It's not good if the police catch us. They'll tell our parents. With no other choice, Ding Wenxiang and his gang ran. Run, run. Seeing them flee, Bei Yao slowly lowered the stick. The memory of the terrifying encounter brought tears to her eyes. She sat there crying like a frightened child. Pei Chuan slowly pulled himself up. Seeing her vulnerability stirred a feeling of sympathy within him. A girl like her would probably only fight like that once in her life. Bei Yao continued to cry. Pei Chuan reached out a bruised hand towards her and softly called, Bei Yao. She finally noticed him. It was a rare occasion for him to initiate conversation with her. Let's go home. Still shaken, Bei Yao instinctively reached out and took his hand. On the way home, Bei Yao worriedly asked. I'm a little scared. Will we get in trouble? He softly reassured her, no, we won't. The memory of the encounter still frightened her. Pei Chuan, I'm hurting. He simply nodded. Bei Yao hesitantly asked, can we walk home together tomorrow? He listened, thinking silently before answering. They continued walking. He agreed, okay. From that year on, time seemed to accelerate. The scene shifted to a boxing gym. To become stronger, Pei Chuan constantly studied various martial arts. Every winter and summer vacation, he would put on boxing gloves and practice. Everything was gradually getting better. Time flew by, and Pei Chuan and I were now in 6th grade. A notice for the 6th grade class, spring outing hung on the bulletin board. A voice rang out. The rice balls my mom makes are delicious. You should try them during the picnic. Chatter filled the air. Hey, did you hear? Ding Wenxiang, an 8th grader, was beaten up by a group of thugs and is in the hospital. Really? Serve him right. Meanwhile, the girls were gathered around Bei Yao, watching her cut apple slices shaped like rabbits. Remembering something, she subconsciously glanced at Pei Chuan. He always shut himself off from everyone's cheerful interactions. It was almost time to graduate from elementary school, and Pei Chuan still had no friends. He was still holding a book, engrossed in reading. I had never paid attention to him in my past life, only vaguely remembering that when I was in 8th grade, Pei Chuan seemed to have become a different person. By 9th grade, he had completely transformed into a delinquent. From beginning to end, the neighborhood kids were warned to stay away from him. This also puzzled Bei Yao, because back then he hung out with a group of thugs, and most of his friends looked menacing. He was clearly a good student now, so why would he become like that? Just then, Pei Chuan noticed her. Their eyes met inadvertently, making her feel a little awkward, and she quickly turned her head away. Time seemed to stop. Bei Yao was still thinking, I want to know the answer. Pei Chuan kept looking at her, signaling, what are you staring at me for? She retorted angrily, if you weren't looking at me, how would I know I was staring at you? Pei Chuan immediately took out his lunchbox. Want some of my food? This surprised Bei Yao a little. Does he think I'm a glutton or something? A shout rang out. Watch out, there's a snake. Bei Yao was startled. A dangerous-looking green viper appeared out of nowhere. This made all the girls scream in fright. The scene gradually became chaotic. It's terrifying, run. At the same time, the teacher rushed over and shouted, Bei Yao, Hua Ting, get out of the way. Hua Ting was so scared she burst into tears. The snake is crawling towards you. The snake lunged closer and closer, faster and faster. Both girls were paralyzed with fear, unable to move. Knowing that she was about to be bitten, Bei Yao felt helpless. At the last moment, a hand reached out and grabbed the snake. Pei Chuan carefully held the snake firmly in his hand. To protect Bei Yao's safety, he proceeded to slam the snake onto the ground. Pei Chuan picked up a nearby rock and smashed it directly onto the snake's head. This scene stunned the entire class. Seeing everyone's gazes, Pei Chuan suddenly froze. His expression gradually became awkward and at a loss. Their eyes are on me. At this moment, everyone looked at Pei Chuan, seemingly wanting to distance themselves from him. He sat there quietly, without any reaction, perhaps regretting his actions. Bei Yao, who was standing nearby, also observed the whole scene. She had just recalled everything with worry. Pei Chuan, if a girl had grabbed the snake, she would have been terrified. The class teacher was also stunned, in disbelief. She smiled and praised. Pei Chuan is very brave. He helped everyone out of danger. The teacher's voice rang out. You should thank him. Bei Yao also looked at Pei Chuan's lonely back. Maybe everyone will admire him like a hero, but he's Pei Chuan. The atmosphere became eerily silent, and dark clouds quickly appeared, blocking out the sun. At this moment, Hua Ting fearfully stepped forward and softly called out, Pei Chuan. She glanced at Bei Yao, while Pei Chuan was still standing there, blaming himself. Bei Yao's voice rang out, thank you, Pei Chuan. He habitually turned his head slowly. Bei Yao also handed him a handkerchief. We were all terrified. Thank you for catching it. Wipe your hands. Time seemed to stop, and their eyes met, making everything gradually become romantic. Pei Chuan also seemed to realize something. He no longer cared about what everyone thought, and just smiled knowingly. Pei Chuan accepted the handkerchief Bei Yao gave him. This made Hua Ting, who was standing nearby, immediately fall silent. Mustering all her courage, she shouted, Pei Chuan, thank you. She was very grateful for what he had just done. Thank you for saving us. Bei Yao and Hua Ting's words made the whole class look at Pei Chuan. Fang Minjun, with a surprised look, praised him. He's really capable, even daring to catch a snake. Chunhu proudly pointed at himself. That's nothing. I can catch one too. Hearing this, she turned to him. Chunhu, you're just bragging. I saw you hiding in the back, scared. He stubbornly retorted, I wasn't. I'm very brave, are you? Fong Minjun quickly reminded him, "Stop bragging." Bei Yao slowly walked towards Pei Chuan. "Pei Chuan, we..." Before she could finish, he warned, "Don't come over, it's not dead yet." Hearing this, she was immediately frightened. He calmly announced, "I'll throw it away." This moved her deeply. "Thank you, thank you." Hua Ting and Bei Yao watched Pei Chuan's retreating figure. Although he seemed a bit solitary, he had done a good deed for everyone. After this incident, everything at school gradually improved. Pei Chuan's relationship with his classmates got much better. Before, no one in class talked to him, but now classmates constantly surrounded his desk chatting. "Can I borrow your eraser? I'll return it right away." "Pei Chuan, do you know how to solve this problem?" After a brief pause, he quickly figured it out. "Let me solve it for you. We know the distance is 45 times 2, which is 90 kilometers. The distance at the meeting point." Pei Chuan's voice continued. "So the car departing from point B will meet the car from point A after 3 hours." This made Bei Yao realize that Pei Chuan was becoming more and more integrated into the group. Everyone admired Pei Chuan's learning ability. He could come up with 3 different solutions for one math problem. It was amazing. Bei Yao also smiled and praised him. "How are you so smart?" His praise made him blush and lower his head slightly. Time passed, and all the graduates gathered on the playground below. "We're taking graduation photos. Don't run around. It feels like we've already graduated. I'm so reluctant. Quick, check if my hair is messy." The students and teachers lined up together. "Are you all lined up? Get ready for the picture." Fong Minjun was surrounded by many classmates. Chun, who also stepped forward, "I'll stand with you." The photographer shouted, 3, 2, 1, cheese. A commemorative photo of the students was taken. Chaoyang Elementary School, Class 1, Grade 6. Bei Yao happily held the photo and examined it carefully. "I've finally graduated from elementary school." She quickly traced Pei Chuan's image with her finger. Pei Chuan was always so quiet. Just then, Yilan quickly appeared and asked, "Yao Yao, your aunt is starting a dance class. Since you have nothing to do this summer, do you want to take dance lessons?" They all heard this. Someone replied disappointedly, "I'm too old now. It's hard to keep up." She even thought angrily, "You borrowed money from my dad 3 years ago and haven't paid back a cent. You're so strict with me about everything else I do. I don't want to learn." This made Yilan uncomfortable. "How can you stay home all summer? You have to exercise, right?" She asked back with a smile, "Can I learn to dance by following a DVD?" After a moment of thought, she finally agreed. "Sounds good. I'll go buy 2 DVDs tomorrow." The scene shifted to the balcony of Pei Chuan's home. A gentle breeze blew, carrying flower petals. He was still sitting by the window, studying intently. He felt something strange, which made him turn his gaze to the side. In the opposite apartment, Bei Yao was still practicing dance moves along with the music from the DVD. She happily twisted her body, warming up. Watching the scene left Pei Chuan somewhat dazed and confused. Realizing something, he quickly blushed and pulled the curtains closed. The summer days passed by, and Pei Chuan hardly ever opened the curtains. Time flew by. The junior high classes were divided based on the final exam scores of 6th grade. Class 7 and Class 8 were the advanced classes, and the rest were regular classes. The story was also narrated by Bei Yao. Chun, who honorably entered Class 6 and was ranked last in the class. This made his father very angry. All his peers in the neighborhood had entered the best classes. The more he talked, the angrier he became. Only you don't want to put in the effort. Chun, who cried and ran away quickly. Meanwhile, school life also began. There are many familiar faces in our 7th grade. Fong Minjun, Hua Ting, and even Li De, who specializes in being last, is in this class. Most importantly, Bei Yao happily walked into the classroom. Pei Chuan and I are still in the same class, and we can choose our own seats. As soon as she saw Pei Chuan, she immediately called out, "Pei." Suddenly, Hua Ting's voice rang out, "Yao Yao." She happily ran over and suggested, "Great, we're in the same class again this semester. We can sit together." This left Bei Yao a little stunned. She secretly glanced at him beside her, but Pei Chuan. Just then, a girl walked up to Pei Chuan and introduced herself. "Hi, I'm Zhuo Yingjing. Can I sit next to you?" Bei Yao immediately felt upset, which surprised Hua Ting. "Yao Yao, what's wrong? Don't you want?" Pei Chuan also noticed her. Without thinking too much, Bei Yao walked with Hua Ting in another direction. "No, Hua Ting and I are good friends." But Bei Yao's expression wasn't as happy as it seemed. "Why do I feel a little sad? In this new environment, besides us, no one knows about Pei Chuan's leg. It's a good thing someone took the initiative to approach him. I should be happy for Pei Chuan. She still tried to comfort herself. Yes, I should be genuinely happy. This is good. Pei Chuan will definitely get better and better. But Pei Chuan, on the other hand, became very uncomfortable. Why didn't she come and sit with me? Does she think she can finally get rid of me, a cripple? Until school was over, Bei Yao hurried to catch up. Pei Chuan, wait for me. He still ignored her and continued walking. Finally catching up to him, Bei Yao saw Pei Chuan's cold gaze as he reminded her. Go home with Hua Ting. His words confused her. Hua Ting doesn't live this way. What's wrong with you? His attitude had completely changed. Stop following me. Aren't you annoyed? These words stung Bei Yao's young heart. He still ignored her and walked straight ahead. She hesitated, stopped, but had no choice but to continue following him. But my house is this way too. Time passed, and Pei Chuan walked along the long corridor, somewhat angry. It's been a whole day, and she hasn't spoken to me or asked me for water. So he angrily finished the water in his hand. I'm not bringing her water anymore. On the other side, Bei Yao was about to go to school and sneeze for some reason. She remembered the growing distance between them and could only follow behind Pei Chuan. But my house is this way too. Day after day, Bei Yao only knew to watch Pei Chuan's back. She became very sad. After that day, Pei Chuan never spoke to me again. Even so, Bei Yao couldn't give up. I will definitely not give up. As soon as she saw Pei Chuan, she immediately shouted, Pei Chuan. He still ignored her and continued walking. She kept running after him. You're walking so fast. Wait for me. I want to walk with you. Seeing that Pei Chuan didn't react at all, Bei Yao became a little worried. Pei Chuan, are you still angry? Seeing that he didn't respond, she continued chattering to herself. Don't be unhappy. I'll sing you a song. Without waiting for his reaction, Bei Yao started humming. The pride in your eyes. Because of me, you understand the rest of your life. Pei Chuan walked towards his familiar home, and Bei Yao walked comfortably beside him. Her singing continued to ring in his ears. In your eyes, I found my lost confidence. The two still walked home side by side, as usual. Only then did I understand that love can make people live so bravely. Remembering something, Bei Yao shouted, by the way, Pei Chuan. Her expression became very excited. Do you think the Chinese teacher is pretty? He coldly replied, ugly. His aloof attitude made her fall into deep thought. I remember after I successfully lost weight in 8th grade, my temperament was quite similar to the Chinese teachers. So will Pei Chuan also think I'll be that ugly in the future? Thinking that she was overthinking it, Bei Yao laughed. Forget it. Why think so far ahead? The present is the most important. She immediately went forward and shouted, Pei Chuan. Her next sentence made him freeze instantly. Let's make up, okay? It could be clearly seen that Bei Yao's expression was very sincere, and she was waiting for his answer. Bei Yao remembered something and continued. A puppy just came to my grandma's house, and it barks at me every time it sees me. I've been so scared to go home these days. Pei Chuan seemed to understand something. So you just want me to help you chase the dog away, right? She quickly shook her head and waved her hands to explain. No, you misunderstood. Bei Yao's eyes lit up, and she kept declaring, I mean, it's so fierce. If it pounces, I'll protect you. Her simple words made Pei Chuan's heart race. Protect me. He blushed slightly and turned his head away, reminding himself, I clearly didn't plan to forgive her so easily. Because he didn't want Bei Yao to see his face, he hurriedly stepped forward, surprising her. Pei Chuan. Pei Chuan was still trying to calm himself down. Stop dawdling. Let's go home. Having spent a long time with him, Bei Yao understood. So we've made up, right? This made him blush, unwilling to admit it. Shut up. Bei Yao happily followed behind him. Pei Chuan is still the same, cold on the outside, warm on the inside. Walking beside him, she said, by the way, Pei Chuan, did you know Fong Minjun bought an apartment in the city center and they're moving tonight? After speaking, Bei Yao grabbed Pei Chuan's hand. This intimate contact made his heart race again, but she still didn't notice, continuing to pull him forward. Let's hurry. We can still make it in time to see her off. He was puzzled by these words. I'm not very close to her. Friends were still crowding around Fong Minjun. Minjun, this is my gift for you. Remember to come back and see us. Don't forget us. Bei Yao also stepped forward and called out Minmin. The familiar nickname made her turn around in surprise. Minmin. Bei Yao, hugging a rabbit teddy bear, ran over happily. I'm so glad I made it. She held a beautiful wallet in her hand. This little wallet is for you. Fong Minjun took the wallet and smiled gratefully. Thank you. Pei Chuan watched everything from the side. I don't like her, but I can't hate her either because she's always like a gentle little moon without any sharp edges. Fong Minjun didn't forget to praise her. It's so cute, I love it. She replied with a smile. I'm glad I got here in time. Only Pei Chuan, standing next to them, understood that she had been saving her snack money for the past month just to buy Fong Minjun a gift. He sank into his own thoughts. She's good to everyone, and I'm no exception. Just then, a friend next to him looked at Chun-Hu and asked, Chun-Hu, you haven't been happy these past few days. Is it because Fong Minjun moved? Do you like her? Hearing this, his face flushed red, and he hurriedly said loudly, what nonsense. Who likes her? But his friends kept urging him to say it if you like her or walk her home after school. He shyly confessed everything. But my cousin said that distance makes the heart grow fonder. Girls don't like clingy guys. Getting too close will make people see you as a brother. These words also shocked and surprised Pei Chuan. Bei Yao turned around, but his figure had already disappeared. Strange, didn't we make up? Why didn't Pei Chuan wait for me? Time quickly shifted to the next morning at Bei Yao's apartment. Inside her room, she kept writing down things she remembered from her past life, clearly recording different pieces of information. In my memory, Pei Chuan's parents divorced when he was in junior high, and it seems like Pei Chuan's personality completely changed because of this, but his parents haven't divorced yet. At the same time, Minjun has also changed. Minmin's appearance has started to change. I heard many rumors about her in my past life. The Jade Maiden of those years became a mistress. A certain tycoon divorced his wife for her. The image of the Ice Queen fell from the peak of fame. This Hong Kong actress became infamous for interfering in someone else's family. Bei Yao sat there thoughtfully, recalling everything. I finally have memories of my first year of high school. She looked at herself in the mirror and asked herself, will I really become the school beauty who amazes everyone in high school? Meanwhile, Pei Chuan was still constantly looking at the device in his hand. Just then, Pei Chuan's father let Bei Yao in. Xiao Chuan, Yao Yao is here. He turned around happily and left. Xiao Chuan, Dad has something to do and needs to go out. You two chat. Bei Yao slowly walked in. Her beauty made Pei Chuan's heart flutter a little. The device in his hand hurriedly emitted a strange beeping sound. To avoid embarrassment, he quickly reached out and turned off the device. Seeing Bei Yao still standing there quietly, Pei Chuan quickly reminded her, what are you standing there for? Come here. Looking at the notebook in her hand, he was a little surprised. Can't do your homework. She obediently walked towards him. No, I wanted to ask. Her eyes became full of anticipation. Can you contact Fong Minjun? Her actions made Pei Chuan feel uncomfortable. Meddling again, Bei Yao seriously explained, you can't say that. We all grew up together. Aren't you worried about her? He thought to himself, I'm not as good as you think. Fong Minjun isn't my family. Why should I care about her? She looked at him with sparkling eyes. Pei Chuan, this made him a little embarrassed. I can't say these things. Seeing her so persistent, Pei Chuan had no choice but to call Minjun's house. The phone rang in the room, and a familiar voice answered, hello. Bei Yao immediately became happy. Connected. Pei Chuan quickly greeted, hello, Annie Lee, it's Pei Chuan. Could you give me Fong Minjun's phone number? Yes. He had to make up an excuse. She left something in my house when her family moved last time. I need to tell her to come back and get it. After getting permission, he nodded, preparing to hang up. Okay, thank you, Annie. I've got it down. Pei Chuan then handed the phone to Bei Yao. You handle the rest. She took the phone. Thank you, Pei Chuan. As soon as the call connected, Minjun's mother's voice rang out. Who is this? She quickly asked, Annie, it's Bei Yao. Can I speak to Minmin? Although she was surprised, she still agreed. Hold on, I'll go get her. She waited expectantly. Okay, thank you, Annie. Bei Yao waited obediently like a little rabbit, but after a while, she started to feel uneasy. Why is it taking so long? Meanwhile, in a dimly lit room, a figure slowly walked forward. Minjun quickly picked up the phone and listened. As soon as Bei Yao heard her answer the phone, she quickly greeted her, Minmin, it's Bei Yao. Are you okay? Your voice sounds a little hoarse. Bei Yao continued chattering on the other end. Minmin, the plum blossoms in our complex are blooming this year. They smell so lovely. My mom made some really delicious preserved sausages. I'll bring you some when school starts. Oh, and I heard they built a huge amusement park in Sea City. I've never been to an amusement park, even though I'm this old now. Minjun listened to her words, her heart gradually sinking. Could you go with me? Remembering the main point she wanted to bring up, Bei Yao got straight to the point. Also, I wanted to say you are Fong Minjun, not that star sushi. Hearing these words, Minjun's eyes widened in shock. You are you. Minjun's eyes reddened slightly. I myself. She nodded in confirmation. So you've always been Fong Minjun. Different voices echoed in her mind. I heard she looks like Snow Queen. Seeing her today, she really does resemble her a bit. Isn't this the little jade girl? She just like Snow Queen. Snow Queen is a cold beauty. So, as the little jade girl, you can't cry. She doesn't look like my Minmin at all. She's too thin. Even those who say she looks like Snow Queen demand that every expression and smile must imitate Snow Queen. You are you. The knife in Minjun's hand slowly and heavily clattered to the floor. Tears streamed down her face. This is the first time anyone has told me that I am myself. Yeah, I'm only 12 years old. She cried like a pitiful child. I've never been to an amusement park, and I've never seen how the plum blossoms bloom at the entrance of our complex. Minjun was just a pitiful child. Ikenti, Bei Yao. Thank you. After ending the call with her, the room immediately fell silent. Beay Yao carefully placed the phone back where it belonged. Thinking about Minjun's situation, she felt a little worried. She hoped Minmin could escape from Sushi's shadow soon. Realizing she had been here for a bit too long, she quickly reacted, Sorry, I used your phone for too long. Let me pay you for the call. Without a second thought, Bei Yao immediately pulled out 50 yuan of her allowance. This surprised him. That's all your money. You're so generous. Remembering something, he looked up at Bei Yao with a slightly angry expression. Are you this nice to everyone? Seeing his attitude, she was a little confused. Pei Chuan seemed unhappy. She hurriedly shook her head and explained, I just think if I were Fong Minjun, I would definitely break down. Because she knew if this continued, the consequences could be severe. But this explanation didn't make Pei Chuan happy. He sat there thoughtfully, pondering. The way she comforted Fong Minjun is the same way she comforted me before. Maybe she'll comfort Chunhu and Lida in the future too. The thought of this made him angry, or maybe even other people. Pei Chuan immediately pushed Bei Yao's hand open. Who wants your money? His action hurt her feelings again. But he continued to sit there thinking, in her heart, I'm no different from Fong Minjun, Chunhu, Lida, and that whole group. Bei Yao slowly walked outside, ignoring him sitting in the room. They're just pitiful kids who need help. The room door slammed shut with a bang, and everything became silent. Outside, Bei Yao looked sadly at the money in her hand. Pei Chuan is angry again. I clearly gave him something I thought was good. She felt a little helpless, unable to understand Pei Chuan's current mood. But to me, you're special, not like anyone else. You don't understand anything. Bei Yao's face lowered sadly. I'm only 12 years old too, an age that needs comforting. This time, she didn't choose to make up with him, but walked forward. I'm leaving. Goodbye, Pei Chuan. The scene shifted to another quiet place, a short period of time having passed. In a convenience store, children chattered nonstop. I want to eat this. I only have 50 cents. Pei Chuan carefully looked at the item in his hand. This also surprised Hua Ting, who praised, You're so nice. You're giving Pei Chuan a birthday present, and you even bought such a beautiful box to wrap it in. Bei Yao smiled and explained, After all, birthdays only come once a year. Thinking about the things Pei Chuan had done for her, Hua Ting was a little surprised. Why are you so good to him? He's not good to you at all. Hearing this, Bei Yao smiled and thought to herself, Pei Chuan's temper is already so petty. What would happen if I were petty too? She smiled and explained he'll grow out of it. Hua Ting's attitude was uncomfortable. You say that as if you're so sure. Seeing a familiar figure, she realized it was Pei Chuan. Bei Yao ran towards him with the gift. Perfect, I can give him his birthday present. She immediately called out, Pei. Just then, another girl had already walked up to Pei Chuan and started talking to him. Are you Pei Chuan? My name is Meng Xian. Before he could respond, she continued chattering. I'm a student in Class 1, Grade 8. I heard they're building a small park in your complex. Can you take me to see it? He was cold, no. Seeing his attitude, she gave up. Fine, I'll go by myself then. Seeing Meng Xian constantly following him made her uncomfortable. Hua Ting, who was beside her, watched the scene and exclaimed in surprise, It's Meng Xian. She used to compete with Fong Minjun for the title of school beauty. Now she's bothering Pei Chuan. What is she trying to do? The more Hua Ting spoke, the more uneasy Bei Yao felt. Regarding Fong Minjun, Hua Ting said, I can't believe she lost so much weight over winter break. It's so sad. Changshu did something wrong. But what exactly did he do wrong? It was time to go home. Hua Ting waved goodbye. I have to turn here. See you tomorrow, Yao Yao. Bei Yao waved back. See you tomorrow. On her way home, Bei Yao looked thoughtfully at the gift box in her hands. Are the things in my diary real? Will this cold Pei Chuan really protect someone like the diary says? The more she thought, the lonelier she felt. Pei Chuan had a new friend, and she was a very pretty girl. Time shifted to evening in the same quiet residential complex. Meng Xian walked close beside him, constantly trying to make conversation. Pei Chuan, your teacher, Ms. Zhang. Pei Chuan still didn't pay much attention, focusing on the stones on the road. She usually sits on this stone waiting for me. Meng Xian continued chattering. Doesn't she have a bit of an accent? Doesn't she emphasize the end of her sentences? He nodded coldly, but in his heart, he was thinking, did she go home early today? Watching her conversation with Pei Chuan, Meng Xian felt very smug. As expected, even the most aloof boys can't resist a girl who is both beautiful and proactive. The familiar street corner that Bei Yao often mentioned came into view. A strange smile suddenly appeared on Pei Chuan's lips, as if he was plotting something. He deliberately led Meng Xian past the house with the vicious dog. Just as they passed the gate, he purposely flicked the latch open with his finger. A slight sound came from the gate. Hearing the noise, the vicious dog quickly stood up and barked incessantly. This terrified Meng Xian, and she screamed repeatedly, "There's a dog." She even pushed Pei Chuan forward. "Pei Chuan, get rid of it." He froze, looking at the familiar figure before him. Bei Yao was still clutching the gift, looking at him with a strange expression. But at this moment, he only had one question in his mind. Did she see me open the latch? Just then, the vicious dog suddenly lunged at Pei Chuan, barking nonstop. Realizing the danger, Bei Yao quickly shouted a warning, Pei Chuan. She tried to reach out to him. Be careful, but he was still standing there. She'll definitely think I'm a bad person. At the last moment, thankfully, Bei Yao rushed forward and chased the dog away for him. Get away. Don't bite. It continued barking, making her angry. She repeated, get away. Get away. Get away. Seeing its persistence, Bei Yao gradually lost her patience. If you don't leave, I'll kill you. She raised the gift box of the dog, as if she would really kill it if it dared to touch a hair on Pei Chuan's head. This reminded Pei Chuan of Bei Yao's trembling figure when she protected him as a child. Seeing how fierce she was, the dog ran into the house, barking continuously. Bei Yao went forward and closed the gate. She didn't forget to lock the gate. Okay, it's okay now, she soothed. Bei Yao's hand trembled as she reached out to Pei Chuan. Pei Chuan, did it bite you? He still didn't react, making her even more worried. Are you hurt anywhere? He quickly noticed something was wrong. Her hand was shaking. Remembering everything Bei Yao had done for him, Pei Chuan felt a surge of emotion. She was clearly scared too, but she still rushed forward without hesitation. He shook his head, indicating he was fine. Still not reassured, she continued to examine his hand carefully. That's good. Realizing something was amiss, Bei Yao quickly hid the gift box behind her back. She didn't want him to see it. Suddenly, she noticed Meng Xian, who was trembling with anger and slumped on the ground beside them. Seeing her strange state, Bei Yao immediately fell silent. As time drifted towards late night, Pei Chuan and Bei Yao walked back to their familiar apartment building. Bei Yao remained silent, making him a little worried. She usually chatters nonstop, but she's been silent the whole way back. He continued to observe her, testing the waters. As expected, she saw it, right? I should still ask. Thinking this, Pei Chuan asked, what did you hit the dog with just now? Bei Yao took out the gift box and held it out to him. I almost forgot. Her face lit up as she looked at him. Pei Chuan, happy birthday. She didn't forget to offer him the gift box. Congratulations on getting another year older. He listened to these words, nodded calmly, and expressed his thanks. Pei Chuan thought to himself, her expression is normal. She probably didn't see me sick the dog on her. Realizing the gift box was damaged, Bei Yao said sadly, I'm sorry, the box got crushed. Pei Chuan shook his head and took it. I don't mind. Remembering what had happened earlier, she shyly said to Pei Chuan, your new friend isn't nice. I saw her trying to exclude you. She looked at Pei Chuan with pleading eyes. Don't play with her anymore. Okay. He seemed to understand something. It turned out her silence along the way was because of Chung Mengxian. He didn't think too much about it and nodded in agreement. Okay. Bei Yao's face lit up. You promised. On the way back, he silently watched her still happy face. He rejected those with malicious intentions. If one day she knew, he and Chung Mengxian were no different. Or even worse, just thinking about these things made him preoccupied. What would she do? He even asked himself, would she still treat me like this? Time passed, and Pei Chuan and Bei Yao were still walking home side by side. After that incident, Annie Lee's dog was leashed, and Bei Yao and Pei Chuan no longer paid attention to Cheng Mengxian. Remembering something, Pei Chuan asked, "I haven't seen your mother for a while." Huh. Bei Yao turned her head and explained, "My mom went back to her hometown to visit relatives." Time flew by, and the story was told by her. But unexpectedly, in just a few days, everything developed in a very unfavorable direction for Pei Chuan. As soon as they arrived at school, Pei Chuan and Bei Yao heard the discussions. He's so aloof, but he secretly tries to please Cheng Mengxian and even took her to the new park. He doesn't even look at his own situation. He's really a toad, wanted to eat swan meat, disgusting. These words fell into Bei Yao's ears. Exactly. How could Cheng Mengxian fall for a cripple without even legs? This made her very angry. That's too much. How can they talk behind people's backs? She was about to speak up when suddenly a voice rang out. "You guys are always gossiping behind people's backs." The next words stunned everyone. "I think you guys are the most despicable." It turned out that these words were spoken by Minjun, Fang Minjun. She felt it wasn't enough and continued, pointing at Pei Chuan. "So what? He's kind, he studies well, and he won't gossip behind people's backs like you guys, like a bunch of gossip mongers." At this moment, the boy couldn't hold back anymore. "Damn it," he angrily questioned loudly. "Fang Minjun, are you jealous of Cheng Mengxian? So you're protecting Pei Chuan?" This question made Minjun answer with great disdain. "There are plenty of people in this world more beautiful than Cheng Mengxian. Why would I be jealous of her?" This answer made the two laugh. A girl more beautiful than Cheng Mengxian would never fall for Pei Chuan in this lifetime. Suddenly, Bei Yao's voice rang out. She quickly pushed the two aside and stepped forward. "Get out of the way, you gossip mongers. Be careful." Seeing her so uncomfortable, the two quickly backed away. "Watch your mouth." At this time, Pei Chuan also walked over, making the two jump in fright. Pei Chuan, why is he here too? Seeing that the situation was not good, the two quickly turned their heads in the other direction. Let's go. Class is about to start." Remembering something, Bei Yao shouted happily. "Minjun, Pei Chuan." Her voice rang out, "Let's go." But Pei Chuan's mood had already been ruined by what had just happened. He also clearly understood his identity. No girl in this world would be generous enough to fully accept my imperfections. His eyes gradually became sad and understanding, let alone a beautiful girl. Pei Chuan continued to watch Bei Yao's innocent smile as she chatted with everyone. What about her? What kind of person will she become in the future? He gradually became more contemplative and withdrawn. Love and being loved are extravagant and out of reach for me. At this moment, Bei Yao was walking down the long corridor, angrily thinking, starting with Cheng Mengxian, I have to go find her after school. I can't let Pei Chuan suffer this injustice for no reason. On this side, Mengxian was still chatting happily with her female classmates. Boys are all the same. Her voice was somewhat disdainful. I walked with him for a while, and he took the initiative to talk to me. This surprised the female classmate beside her. Maybe you're the most beautiful girl he's ever seen. Murmurs arose. Yeah, he must be very excited. Suddenly, a voice rang out, Senior Cheng. Bei Yao hurried over and asked, can I talk to you for a moment? Seeing her appearance, Mengxian was a little surprised, and the people around her were also puzzled. Do you two know each other? She quickly waved her hand. You guys go ahead. Hearing Mengxian say this, the two female classmates hurried away. We were about to leave, and they were all looking at her. Do you remember me? I was the one who helped you chase the dogs away that day. She nodded, indicating she remembered. Bei Yao didn't beat around the bush and asked directly, Senior, everyone is saying nasty things about Pei Chuan. Can you explain to them what really happened that day? Cheng Mengxian frowned uncomfortably after hearing this and replied, There's nothing to explain. I didn't make those things up. Bei Yao couldn't hold back anymore. But you were clearly the one who went home with Pei Chuan. She didn't hesitate to expose the truth. If you hadn't provoked him, this wouldn't have happened. This made Cheng Mengxian very uneasy. She said loudly, He didn't even speak to me first. What is he to you that you're protecting him like this? Hearing these harsh words, Bei Yao firmly replied, He's someone I protected for almost 10 years. Cheng Mengxian was stunned. Bei Yao continued, He's someone I protected for 10 years. Her voice rang out, He's not a toy in your eyes, and he's not trash. This made Cheng Mengxian a little angry. Helpless, Cheng Mengxian turned and left. How unreasonable. Seeing Cheng Mengxian's stubbornness, Bei Yao felt very helpless and at a loss. She thought of Pei Chuan's thin and tall figure. I just hope he can be like before, safe and sound all his life. Even if he has a cold and solitary personality, he must grow up happily. After that day, they went to school together for a long time, and Chung Mengxian never bothered Pei Chuan again. Everything gradually got better, although sometimes she would still hear some bad things about Pei Chuan. If Chung Mengxian won't explain, then I will. Every time everyone gossiped about Pei Chuan, Bei Yao would constantly tell them, "It's not like that, stop spreading rumors." As time passed, she kept reminding them, "I'm telling you." But Pei Chuan didn't seem to care about these things and turned to walk into the classroom. Pei Chuan said these pale and feeble explanations were useless. He even called me a fool. Even so, Bei Yao's eyes, filled with the determination to defend Pei Chuan's reputation, remained firm. But I don't want to give up. I want him to know that I will always be on his side. Until school ended, the two walked back together. Time passed bit by bit, and finally, in our 8th grade year, Chung Mengxian found a man worthy of her. By 9th grade, Chung Mengxian had a boyfriend. It was then that everyone finally let go of the Pei Chuan issue. Bei Yao remembered something and asked Pei Chuan as they walked, "Do you think Chung Mengxian's boyfriend looks familiar?" His attitude was as indifferent as before. I didn't notice. This made her think. Had he not seen him, or did he just not remember? Seeing her still in a daze, Pei Chuan flicked her forehead. "Don't mind other people's business. Focus on studying for the high school entrance exam." Remembering something, he asked, "For the high school entrance exam, which high school do you want to go to?" Bei Yao innocently explained, "I want to go to number 6 high school. It's close to home." He listened, lost in thought. Number 6 high school, huh? At this moment, Bei Yao leaned closer to Pei Chuan. "By the way, I'll tell you a secret." He listened, curious. She blushed and winked at him. "My mom is going to have a little brother for me." This also surprised Pei Chuan. That's unexpected. He also understood something. So, Aunt Zhao didn't go back to her hometown to visit relatives, but because she's pregnant. They chatted happily as they walked. "According to the due date, my little brother will be born this month." But he was puzzled. How do you know it's a brother? His next sentence made her freeze. What if it's a little sister? Bei Yao quickly turned her head and replied innocently, "I dreamed it." She panicked inwardly, thinking, "It's a good thing I found a way to cover it up. I almost let slip." Her face flushed slightly. "But it's okay if it's a little sister. I'll still love the baby." Suddenly, Pei Chuan became strange. "You hope the baby is born?" Bei Yao smiled and nodded. "Of course." He looked at her with some confusion on his face. "Aren't you afraid the baby will steal all your parents' love?" She still didn't care about this question and replied innocently, "I'm not afraid. We're connected by blood. We're family." Bei Yao suddenly widened her eyes, remembering something. Seeing her stop, Pei Chuan became curious. "Why did you stop?" She couldn't hide her thoughts and turned to look at him. "Pei Chuan, do you want a little brother or a little sister?" But he turned his head indifferently. "I don't want either." Bei Yao looked at him with a hint of sadness in her eyes. In her memory, by the time they were in high school, Pei Chuan's parents had long been divorced, and the situation had become even worse. Pei Chuan lived with Uncle Pei, but not long after, Uncle Pei found him a stepmother, who also brought a daughter the same age as Pei Chuan. Uncle Pei announced, "Pei Chuan, this is your new mother." The thought of Pei Chuan being wronged made Bei Yao's heart ache. That stepmother didn't seem to like Pei Chuan at all, and she wondered how much he would suffer in the future. Later that evening, Pei Chuan opened the paper in his hand, thinking Bei Yao must still believe that it was her persuasion that worked, and that's why Chung Mengxian stopped bothering me. The paper clearly recorded Ding Wenshang's name. In 6th grade, someone insisted on seeing my prosthetic leg, lifting my pants. He grew up to be a good-for-nothing, idling around in society. He's not outstanding in other aspects, but when it comes to wealth, he's definitely at the top. Contact information. By then, Pei Chuan had already met Wang Xiang from Class 1, Grade 8. Looking at the photo in his hand, Wang Xiang showed some interest. This chick is hot. Pei Chuan realized with a heavy heart that all his actions were wicked. It's best she always thinks this way, so she'll never know the despicable methods I used. He slowly tore up the paper in his hand. Everything had to be credited to Chung Mengxian's impure intentions, like destroying evidence. He threw all the scraps into the toilet. She made me realize that I don't deserve to be loved in this lifetime. I don't deserve it. Time passed, and it was evening. In the familiar neighborhood, Bei Yao was walking home when she saw Li Kai and exclaimed in surprise, "Dad." Pei Chuan also greeted him. "Hello, uncle." He saw them both and called out, "Xiao Chuan, Yao Yao." Seeing his somewhat strange expression, Bei Yao asked curiously, "Dad, where are you going?" Li Kai explained with a smile, "Dad's going to see your mom and your younger siblings." Hearing this, her eyes lit up. "Can I go with you, Dad?" I've finished my homework. Hearing this, he nodded in agreement. Let's go. She happily followed behind, not forgetting to wave goodbye. Pei Chuan, see you tomorrow. He just calmly watched Bei Yao and Li Kai leave. See you tomorrow. He looked at the two with a hint of envy. Uncle Bei and Aunt Zhao's relationship was always so good. He lowered his head slightly, thinking about his family. His parents had been in a Cold War recently. As evening deepened, Pei Chuan became more contemplative. I really don't know how much longer this nominal relationship can last. Pei Haobing gently placed his hand on the window. He held a cigarette in his hand and smoked as Wan slowly announced, let's get a divorce. I've fallen in love with another man. She added, he's a doctor at our hospital. These words made Pei Haobing freeze in that moment. He abruptly turned his head and shouted, Zheng Wan. He couldn't bear what she had just said. You have a nerve to say these words. If I hadn't discovered the text messages on your phone, would you have made me wear a cuckold's hat for the rest of my life? Accusatory words echoed continuously in the room. Having done such a thing, are you fit to be a wife? Fit to be a mother? Wan listened silently. At this moment, tears slowly slid down her face. I know I'm sorry to you, sorry to Xiao Chuan, but who is to blame for all this? These words also made Pei Haobing freeze in that moment. Whenever she recalled what had happened, she felt extremely despairing. Ever since Chuan's leg was broken, I've had nightmares every night lying next to you. Back then, she held Pei Chuan's leg tightly in her arms. In my dreams, there's blood everywhere. I hold those broken legs and cry until I'm blind. Her voice continued to echo in the room. No matter how much I shout, no one can save me. You're a good policeman. Neither of them knew that Pei Chuan had overheard these words. He looked thoughtfully at the glass of water in his hand. But you're not a good father. Her words stabbed into his heart like knives. Do you know how desperate I am? Just looking at Xiao Chuan. Wan covered her face and sobbed desperately in the room. I remember the reason the child had the accident was because of your work. For your mission, you could abandon your wife and child. You need to see the part of Xiao Chuan that is disabled. After so many years, she finally chose to tell the truth. I don't even dare to look at him, but he's my son. Knowing that he also bore responsibility for this matter, Pei Haobing just listened silently. All these years, it's been Dr. Song who's been helping me with psychological therapy. You can say I'm irresponsible. You can call me despicable. Her voice gradually weakened. But I really don't want to live in these nightmares anymore. He slowly sat down beside her. In the room, at this moment, Pei Chuan was also looking at the glass of water on the table. His eyes clearly revealed a desperate sadness. So the person Mom is afraid of. A gust of wind blew, and the cactus was knocked to the ground. Is me. I always thought things would get better. The flower pot also shattered into pieces, and he learned the truth. So, the people who can't be kept will never be kept. Thunder rumbled outside as Pei Chuan huddled in the corner of his room. Just thinking about Wan's words made it impossible for him to sleep. I used to think that even if I lost my legs as long as I studied hard, was obedient and sensible. The roaring noise outside was incessant. I didn't have the mood to care about the temperature. I want to rely on my own two hands to become a person of value to society. I will become the pride of my parents, just like other children. Thinking of this, a strange smile appeared on his face, but it turned out that all of that was useless now. After experiencing these things, he became even more withdrawn. As long as I live another day, I will always be a badge of shame in my dad's life. Pei Chuan, in his room, was too despairing to speak. I'm a terrible nightmare in my mother's heart. It's only been 3 months. How has it gotten so cold already? The scene changed to a hospital in the city. Yilan successfully gave birth to a baby. Li Kai was overjoyed. When the baby grows up, he must be a bodyguard for a lovely Yao Yao. Bei Yao looked curiously at the small, delicate baby. Mom, what's my little brother's name? She smiled thoughtfully and replied, your dad and I have decided. His formal name is Bei Jun. Do you want to give your little brother a nickname? Hearing the name, she was excited. June for defending the country. That sounds so nice. Mom, let's call him Jun as a nickname. Her mother, Yilan, looked at her son and smiled. I think so too. Time passed, and in the blink of an eye, it was the next morning at school. Bei Yao walked happily down the long corridor. Mom said I could secretly share the news of my brother's birth with my best friend. I must tell Pei Chuan first. Seeing Pei Chuan's figure sitting in the classroom, she was happy. Pei Chuan is here. His face was somewhat sad, which Bei Yao quickly noticed. But why was he even more gloomy than usual today? This puzzled her. What happened? Suddenly, she moved closer and handed Pei Chuan a water bottle. He turned his head in surprise. She spoke with a smile. It's not summer yet. Remember to wear more in the morning. It's hot water. to warm your hands. He took the water bottle and asked sadly, "Did your mom have a baby?" Bei Yao whispered excitedly in his ear, "Yes, I guessed right. It's a little brother, not a little sister. He's so tiny." Pei Chuan, her voice rang out, "Do you want to come see the baby with me after school?" He looked a little strange and immediately refused. "I won't go." Pei Chuan rummaged in his desk and pulled something out. "This is just right for your little brother." Bei Yao was curious. He reminded her again, "Hold out your hand." Holding the bracelet towards Bei Yao, he quickly instructed, "Take it." Looking at the object in her hand, she was puzzled and couldn't believe it. "Silver. Is it silver? Where did you get so much money to buy this?" His expression became calm. He replied, "Just take it. Why ask so many questions?" Bei Yao looked at the bracelet in her hand, still a little afraid. But it's too expensive." Pei Chuan continued, "Tell your mom my dad bought it." Because she was so worried, she quickly picked up the bracelet and held it out to Pei Chuan. "No, I can't accept this, Pei Chuan. Take it back." He was equally firm. "If you don't want it, throw it away." Bei Yao held the bracelet at a loss. Just then, Wu Ting hurried in. She called out, "Yao Yao, class is about to start. Aren't you going back to your seat?" She quickly pulled Bei Yao away. "Let's go. I brought strawberries," she said happily and excitedly. "Let's eat them together during lunch break." Bei Yao glanced back at Pei Chuan. Seeing her return to her seat, he thought to himself, "Every year she prepares gifts for me. Toy guns, homemade pillows, walnut bracelets, safety charms." He looked thoughtfully at the water bottle in his hand. "But I have never given her a gift. I didn't understand when I was young, and now that I've grown up, I can't." He sighed, remembering what had happened. The lesson from Chong Mengshan was profound enough. Anything associated with the name Pei Chuan, he himself must also hate. His life has become dirty, subject to public condemnation. He made a mental note. The bracelet is perfect. Giving it in the name of a gift for her brother won't give anyone anything to gossip about. Bei Yao was still looking at the silver bracelet, unaware that everything was part of Pei Chuan's plan. It wouldn't tarnish her reputation. She wouldn't even understand, wouldn't overthink it. She looked at Pei Chuan's back, right in front of her. Coincidentally, at this moment, she also remembered everything that had happened. Pei Chuan was in a bad mood today, after what happened with Chong Mengshan. The teacher had already walked into the classroom. She quickly searched for her textbook. "No matter what emotions Pei Chuan has, he no longer shows them in front of me." Bei Yao looked at the letter in her hand. He seemed to have grown up overnight. "I can no longer keep up with the speed of his growth." Without thinking too much, she picked up a pen and wrote on the letter. I asked him, using simple English words. Looking at the letter she had written, Bei Yao read it again. "If he doesn't want to reply, I'll just treat it as a game to practice my English." She carefully placed the letter into the envelope. This way, it won't make things difficult for him. Bei Yao sealed the envelope tightly, as if afraid it would fall out. After school, Bei Yao quickly went to the post office to mail the letter. She looked around thoughtfully. Pei Chuan came here every day to pick up the fresh milk he ordered. Worried, she looked back again. He'll definitely see this letter. She asked herself, will he write back to me? Time passed the evening. Bei Yao sat by the window, lost in thought, seemingly not in the mood to study. It's been so long, and Pei Chuan hasn't replied to my letter. She recalled the image of Pei Chuan holding the milk bottle and discovering the letter addressed to him. This made her somewhat absent-minded and unable to concentrate on her studies. But he definitely took the letter, right? Meanwhile, the scene shifted to Pei Chuan's room. He carefully placed the things Bei Yao had given him into a box, and then he made sure to lock it securely. Pei Chuan looked at the locked box and breathed a sigh of relief. These things, like that person, I understand my feelings clearly. I must learn to ignore them, learn to forget. Pei Chuan didn't think much about it and immediately turned to leave. As soon as he opened the door, he saw Wan sitting there quietly. Looking at her sad face, he seemed to understand something. Realizing Pei Chuan was there, Wan, who was holding a suitcase, prepared to leave. Unable to tell him the truth, she forced a smile and gently told Pei Chuan, "Mom is going on a business trip and will be back in a few days. Remember to study hard." Of course, Pei Chuan already knew the whole truth. This day had finally come. Seeing his pensive look, Wan continued to ask, "Do you want any gifts? Mom will bring them back for you." But in his heart, he knew clearly, Mom can't wait to rush towards her happiness, right? He coldly replied, "No. Have a safe trip." His few simple, polite words pained her. To avoid the awkwardness, Wan quickly turned her face away. She pulled her suitcase and walked out the door. "Mom's leaving, Pei Chuan. Goodbye." The door closed, and the room became pathetically cold. And I've endured this for so long. A long time passed, and the space itself seemed to change, leaving only Pei Chuan standing there alone. But that door would never open again. Returning to his room, he continued to sit at his desk. Even so, I still hold a sliver of hope. He soon started listening to the conversation on the radio. She can't go on like this forever. She has to tell the child the truth. In the room, the conversation between two people continued to play. I know, but isn't he about to take the high school entrance exam? I've already discussed it with Pei Haobing. We'll tell him after the exam. A cold, hurtful sentence rang out. Then, after the divorce, who will your son live with? Thinking of this, Pei Chuan angrily threw the radio aside. For the first time in my life, I hate my talent in electronics. He had to endure the pain for a long time, and that ability let me know. The room seemed to be left with only a pitiful darkness. My mom, before I've even fully grown up, that abandoned me. Time flew by until one day, the teacher's voice rang out. Classmates, this year is your last year of junior high. Have a good holiday or study hard at home. Teacher Zhang stood on the podium and carefully reminded the students, be careful when you go out to play. Happy New Year in advance, everyone. The classmates in the class cheered enthusiastically. Teacher Zhang, Happy New Year to you too. We're on holiday. Watching this scene, he smiled in surprise. They're still just a group of 14 or 15-year-old teenagers. Wu Ting also slowly stood up and gently told Bei Yao, Yao, I'll go first. She nodded with a smile. Goodbye. Wu Ting quickly left. Bei Yao also slowly stood up. Pei Chuan stood there quietly. At this moment, she walked towards him and started chatting. Pei Chuan, I'm going back to my hometown for the new year this year. We probably won't see each other again until spring next year. She carefully reminded him, remember to take your medicine, drink more water, and don't stay at home all day during the new year. You can go set off firecrackers with Chunyu and your other friends. He nodded coldly. Seeing his lack of response, Bei Yao took a step forward. Then I'll go first. There was some disappointment on her face. See you next year. Suddenly, he asked, when are you coming back? This proactive question surprised Bei Yao. She turned her head happily and replied, my mom said probably in February. I'll probably be back before school starts. I'll bring you some local specialties. Remember to wait for me to come back. He maintained his indifferent expression. Okay, time passed, and a cold winter day arrived. Bei Yao smiled and walked forward, calling out to Zheng Hu and Li De. Everyone was surprised to see the change in her. Bei Yao walked toward the two of them with gifts. This is dried tea I brought you from my hometown. It's very good. Looking at Bei Yao's transformation, Zheng Hu and Li De were stunned. My goodness, she's so beautiful now. Remembering something, she immediately turned around and asked, by the way, where's Pei Chuan? Why haven't I seen him? Zheng Hu, with a sad expression, slowly explained everything. His parents divorced before the new year. Uncle Pei was injured on duty during the new year, and Pei Chuan is taking care of him in the hospital. His next words made Bei Yao gasp. I heard that Uncle Pei might never wake up. The scene quickly shifted to the hospital. The woman in the room came out carrying a basin of water and instructed Xiao Chuan, remember to eat. I'm going to get some water for your dad. Pei Chuan had been sitting by his father's bedside for a long time. Okay, thank you, Aunt. The woman looked at him, her eyes filled with sadness and a hint of apology. The child was so young, and his voice was hoarse. She sighed and walked out. So pitiful. At this moment, the woman's husband angrily shouted, I'm warning you, don't even think about bringing that cripple home. My meager salary is barely enough to support our own children. She desperately and hurriedly reminded him, keep your voice down. Xiao Chuan is still inside, but he was unrelenting, so what if he hears? Anyway, don't even think about it. Inside the ward, Pei Chuan heard everything. How can you be so heartless? My brother helped you so much before. Her voice became a little hoarse. Pei Chuan is all alone. What's wrong with taking care of him? But he was uncomfortable. I don't have money. I can't afford to raise a cripple. If you insist, then we'll get divorced. Thinking about the injustice he had to endure, Pei Chuan felt extremely despairing. His father almost lost his life for public safety, but what would the people his father desperately protected do for him? His feelings towards the world became even more resentful. For the sake of so-called justice, I became a cripple, my mother remarried, and my father is now a vegetable. Being a good person is really not worth it at all. Time had passed a late night. At the hospital, Yilan stepped forward and handed over a bag of fruit. Hello, we are Officer Pei's neighbors, and we came to visit him. Pei Chuan's aunt took the fruit bag. Thank you. I'm his younger sister. Bei Yao said, Mom, I'll go in first. She quickly peeked into the room and called out, Pei Chuan, my mom and I came to see Uncle Pei. She stared blankly at Pei Chuan's expression. He, too, noticed the change in her, as she was so beautiful that he was momentarily stunned. He quickly lowered his head, concealing his embarrassment. Thank you. Seeing him acting so strangely, Bei Yao was a little puzzled. She gently reached out and held Pei Chuan's hand. Before he could react, she placed an amulet in his hand. This is an amulet my grandma and I got from the temple on Sugar Mountain. She smiled gently and explained, I heard it's very effective. I'm giving it to Uncle Pei. Pei Chuan looked at the amulet in his hand with surprise. I hope Uncle recovers soon. Time quickly shifted to evening. In the long hospital corridor, Yilan's voice rang out. Xiao Chuan, I'll be going now, okay? Bei Yao also waved goodbye. Xiao Chuan, we're leaving. Pei Chuan obediently nodded farewell. After they left, he slowly placed the amulet Bei Yao gave him under Haobing's pillow. Dad, please wake up soon. Suddenly, a voice called out in the room, Pei Chuan. He slowly turned his head. His teacher walked in quickly. Mr. Zhang. He came in carrying a box of cake. I came to see your father, and I also wanted to talk to you about something. Remembering something, he turned and asked, Teacher, you called me during the summer vacation and asked if I wanted a guaranteed admission spot at number 3 high school. I refused at the time. I've been thinking about it carefully recently. Although Pei Chuan felt a little regretful, he had promised to take the entrance exam for number 6 high school with her. His voice rang out. I can't let down the school and the teacher's expectations now. Teacher, can I still get into number 3 high school? Hearing this, Mr. Zhang was a little surprised and a joyful expression appeared on his face. He quickly nodded. Of course. He didn't forget to place the cake box on the table and then picked up his bag again. I came here tonight to talk to you about this. I haven't formally discussed it with him yet, so there's still time. He didn't waste any more time. Mr. Zhang took a stack of documents out of his bag. Fill out these documents. Pei Chuan took the documents and continued to ask, Teacher, my dad is still unconscious. If I get the guaranteed admission, can I defer enrollment for a while? His eyes dimmed, and he couldn't speak. He wanted to stay and take care of his father. Too much had happened in his life. He pleaded with Mr. Zhang. Teacher, please don't tell my classmates about my guaranteed admission to number 3 high school. Okay. Although surprised, Mr. Zhang nodded in agreement. Okay. Pei Chuan carefully filled out the stack of documents. Mr. Zhang slowly said, I will report your situation to the school. Pei Chuan unconsciously recalled the question he had asked Bei Yao before. Speaking of the high school entrance exam, which high school do you want to go to? Bei Yao had smiled and explained, I want to go to number 6 high school because it's close to home. Thinking of this, he felt incredibly sad. Without me, you'll be happier, right? Time quickly passed to late night, and the phone rang in the room. Pei Chuan's voice was slow and hesitant as he asked, Who is it? Bei Yao's voice came from the other end of the line. Pei Chuan, it's Bei Yao. Hearing the familiar name, he was stunned. Bei Yao urged, Look out the window. I have good news to tell you. He quickly walked out to the hallway. Seeing Pei Chuan, Bei Yao waved excitedly and shouted, Pei Chuan, Pei Chuan. Her face radiated excitement as she announced, I got into number 6 high school. We could go to school together when the term starts. Her joyful voice came clearly through the phone. Maybe we'll even be in the same class. Hearing this, all Pei Chuan could think about was number 6 high school. His face seemed expressionless. I'm going to sleep now. He offered a brief goodnight. Pei Chuan immediately hung up the phone, leaving Bei Yao a little stunned. Pei Chuan walked into the room and drew the curtains. Looking at the phone on the bed, he was lost in thought. Between number 3 high school and number 6 high school, there was only a 10-minute drive. Yet the distance between the two of them was growing further and further. It would be the furthest distance in the world. Back in his dark room, Pei Chuan looked at the tape recorder. Lost in thought, he quickly reached out and turned on the recorder, wanting to hear the conversation inside. The voice of Pei Chuan's stepmother, Jin Xiaojing, rang out, I have a daughter, a year younger than your son, and she's very obedient. If we really get together in the future, she'll have to live with us too. He held a pack of cigarettes in his hand as he listened. Your son doesn't mind, does he? He habitually and slowly brought a cigarette to his lips. Haobing's voice replied, Xiao Chuan has been lonely since he was a child, and he lost his legs because of my work. I hope you two can be more considerate of him. As for him, I'll talk to him. Pei Chuan just listened silently to the two of them, exchanging sweet nothings. Don't worry, it was me who neglected my family for my career in the past, which led to what I am today. From now on, you and your child are the most important things in my life. Xiaojing's voice rang out happily. Of course, I believe you. Suddenly, Pei Chuan laughed, his eyes filled with bitterness, unable to face reality. As expected, the things I cherish will eventually leave me. He leaned back slightly and exhaled a puff of smoke. Maybe I don't need family. The cigarette in his hand slowly fell to the floor. I don't need a lover either. Several cigarette butts were already scattered on the floor. I'll live more freely.